Welcome back. Love Boat Project episode 30. 30?
Wow. Dirty 30.
30, 30. I'm your host, Mike Taylor. With me, as always, is my co host, Mike Robertson. Ahoy for episode 30, Mike.
I feel like we should have been Mike and Ike this week.
Oh,
Didn't even
we
think
really
about it.
dropped the ball on that. I didn't think
Yeah.
about that
Delicious
either.
candy, outstanding street music, purveyors.
We could have just been like pill shaped candy. You could have been the one color, I could have been the other color. It would have been
It's like
amazing.
we haven't done a lot on titles lately, but it's like, man, they were just like, here are the titles. It's like when you use a Google Doc and it's the first
Yeah.
line you put just as automatically the title. That's what they basically landed on. So
Yeah, this is and I want to say before we get into it, this episode is I remember this episode when I was a kid.
really,
I don't remember it from 10/21/78, but I do
sure.
remember seeing this episode because I remember the bandit. And I don't know, I just thought, and I remember asking my mom, like, what? I was probably asking like level headed questions like, isn't he a criminal, mom? What he's doing, isn't that a form of assault?
Questions that were never answered in
No,
the episode.
no, no. So I think she said he was shy. I don't remember what she said, but I remember seeing this
He was
episode.
shot? What?
Shy. I think like he was shy. And I was
I don't
like,
know if I missed
either
that part.
way, no, he didn't get in trouble because he was shot at the
Right.
end. It didn't matter.
Right. Right.
Um, yeah, I just always thought that was funny. And now seeing it, I didn't know then Billy Crystal was a thing.
Yeah.
So now but I mean, I don't want to give away too much. There's a lot to take in on the behind the scenes of this episode, more
Oh,
so than any
really?
episode we've seen so far.
Wow. Oh, I am curious about that.
So we're here to talk about The Love Boat Season 2, Episode 5, The Kissing Bandit, The Witness, Mike and Ike. Yeah, no kidding. Pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Interesting thing about the Kissing Bandit storyline. Co-writers of this, they called it a segment. Well, I'm sorry. Co for The Kissing Bandit and Mike and Ike,
Right.
they Bernie Capel and Fred Grandy were the writers.
And it's interesting in a couple ways because I don't know that we've ever had two people write two of the three
No, no.
stories. We had that Mike Norrell wrote all of them in the O'Rourke one, but
Yeah.
so I found that very interesting. Obviously, they're the actors, so it's very interesting too. But we missed their first one last year.
Which one did they write?
Now I went back and looked because I saw that they had one credit for season one, and if you think about what they wrote in this episode, it makes a lot of sense. They wrote Isaac's history lesson, which is the dissertation.
Okay.
So
You know
I
what? It's the
think
same,
it's the same vibe,
like,
and
yeah.
we're gonna highlight Ted Lang. So it's kind of a shame that the fellow actors are the ones who have to give him the most run, but I don't think that was a coincidence that those guys really wrote two Isaac heavy pieces.
I thought that's pretty interesting. I didn't know about the first season, and
No, we
that
missed it
is
completely.
interesting.
I don't know how. We were so swept up in
Wow.
Scuttlebutt.
There was so
We
much
missed
scuttlebutt. There's a lot
it.
to take in.
There's a lot going on in 16, so
Now, the other thing that caught my eye about this episode is that we have a quote script and continuity department.
really.
I read this in the credits, and I don't think I'd seen it. But I don't remember seeing it.
Well, if they had it, it wasn't working before.
No,
So
and it's interesting because who better to have as a script and continuity department better than Art Barr and Art Bear and Ben Jolson?
good for them. It's important. And
Maybe they're building for.
if that is in fact something that's relatively new, it makes sense because we have seen not a lot, but a little more world building, right? The
I agree.
Steubing
I agree.
mentioning his ex-wife, the Isaac backstory of, growing up in
Dancing,
Oakland with Scatman
singing,
Crothers
sure.
jives with this one this week. Um, and like we've always said, we don't need much, man. Just give us a little bit.
That's right.
Just give us a little bit. And so maybe this is all leading to the daughter coming up in a couple
It
weeks.
has to be. It
Yeah.
has to be.
Yeah.
Original air date for this episode was October 21st, 1978. What is on? Well, Mike, CBS 9 o'clock, another quality show that we're following
No.
intently.
We're getting close to the second half of
Getting
that.
very close. Another riveting episode of The American Girls this week after their plane crashes in the wilderness.
Oh no.
I know. Rebecca and the pilot struggled to survive. Well, what an
What happened to the other one?
open-ended. Maybe she perished.
Oh
Maybe it's
no.
just Rebecca and the pilot. It's the American Girl now and a
Oh
pilot.
no. Terry, no.
And I think it was that guy from Wings. He was the
Oh, Steven
pilot,
Weber?
very young.
Joe
Yeah,
Hackett. Yes.
very young. 9 o'clock on NBC. Movie, part 2 of a movie. The movie is Rescue from Gilligan's Island.
Wow, they really dragged it out over 2 weeks.
Yeah, because we talked about it last week. But this is weird. So I'm looking at the synopsis and it says the castaways must try to readjust to life and civilization after they're rescued from the island. And
Right.
all I can think about is Tom Hanks in that hotel room with the light switch on, light switch off, light switch on, light switch off, like just not knowing, sleeping on floors. I wonder what,
All I can think of is Lost when they hated civilization so much, they all ended up going back to the island, which
right?
is kinda what happened with Gilligan.
I mean, who do you think would have the hardest time readjust? Probably the professor, because he has to build things out of metal instead of coconuts.
Do the Howells have all their money still?
I bet you they went back and they have even more money than they thought,
Or
or they're
if they how
flat
long were they
broke.
missing? Like 3 years? 4 years? Somebody in that family declared them dead and took their will. So they may not
Oh
have any
yeah,
money.
imagine that they come back and they're broke.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Howells. I think it's also possible that
Ginger might have
Mary
croaked.
Ann, um, there's always that Ginger Mary Ann thing, but like, Mary Ann on an island is a 10. Mary Ann in Kansas, I don't
Is it
know.
is well? What does she do? What's
Well,
her profession? We know
Mary Ann
Ginger's a movie star. What's Marianne?
is
What's the
Mary Ann,
chores?
and
I don't know what.
she's the rest. So it's
Fair enough. Everything that's not covered in
yeah.
these very specific.
I'm either going with the Howells because they lost all their money,
That's a very
or
logical choice.
I gotta think the skipper's not getting a lot of fares anymore, right, for 3-hour cruises.
Well, that was the last time he ever did it. And it's not like,
Well, but, like, the word of mouth is gonna be bad. Your Yelp rating has to be awful if you
oh,
disappeared,
maybe it was one of those
so
1 stars. We're gonna go on the worst reviewed. Well,
"Hey,
and that's the
fam."
thing too. Why were the Howls on with the like? Did they know them going in?
I don't
How
know if
did
they
Marianne?
ever
Does Marianne
I
a
don't know if
stowaway? How was
did
she
they
in the
what,
mix?
she's an April Lopez situation?
Just a
So
weird, yeah. Like
I don't know what the story is,
how are
actually.
they
Do they do that in the
bystanders?
first episode? We should watch Gilligan: The
We
Island
should.
Project.
We
They
should
would
watch
probably
that.
know.
They'll be able to tell us.
Yeah, so call in. Call into the hotline.
Call in
Gilligan
the
Island
hotline.
Project.
Synopsis for this episode. Let's see if we agree or disagree.
Good luck.
Isaac's friends, Mike and Lenore, are successful and rich, but workaholic Mike neglects his son.
Yeah, that's fair. Although I will argue that, Isaac maybe isn't their friend anymore.
No, no. He didn't even know him.
They didn't know they got married.
No.
He heard they got married. You didn't get invited?
Remember she said that weird thing? He said that weird thing. He's like, that's what you said when you left 12 years ago.
Yeah, did
Or
they
you're
hook
going
up?
out for,
That's
I
what I
don't,
thought they were gonna go with, that there was, like, some weird, Star Wars love triangle.
well, Isaac wasn't trying to hook up with her because he wasn't wearing like a matching leather outfit. That's his, let me show you what I got. Suede, suede.
Ugh.
He didn't do that. In fact, I think he was in his work uniform
He just
throughout
took his
the
tie. He
entire
just took his
episode.
tie off when Gopher shows up for breakfast. He just didn't have his tie on.
I'm off
That was it.
duty.
They didn't
Yeah.
even go. They Fred Grandy and Bernie Capel were like, "Listen, we're gonna write you a meaty role here, but you cannot wear your own clothes."
Nope. That's rule number one.
So,
Because they're vegetarians. They feel bad about him wearing all that suede. Suzanne follows Frank, which, by the way, is a very creepy story, who witnessed what happened to someone she cares about.
creepy or boring?
Creepy and boring. Potentially
I
creepier,
think
but
more. I think
low-key
more the
boring. Low-key
latter.
creepy boring.
Maybe I'm desensitized from last week, but
Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't mean creepy like like that creepy. I mean like she wants him to do what she wants him to do.
oh, her plan is wild. Her plan is, and I don't care that it worked. Her plan is wild.
The fact she ran on a boat that she wasn't
She didn't
even
have a
didn't even
ticket.
have a ticket.
She didn't have a ticket. So
Oh.
she flew
Uh,
from New York to California. She tailed
just
this guy.
with nothing. Where's your
Yeah,
stuff? No, no, that's not true. She did have stuff. She did have
yeah.
stuff. She gave off that vibe. Remember that crazy NASA lady that wore like a Depends and like drove to Florida to like try to kill her ex-husband's lover or some nonsense. Very crazy.
Yeah.
Uh, Shy Newton Weems dons a costume and kisses girls on board.
I mean, these are accurate. That's an accurate
Accurate.
summary right
Not a
there.
lot of
No.
descriptive language there, but
No. Well, it's like the titles. We're very
it is
utilitarian this week.
very.
Yeah.
What are we serving? White toast with one
Lots of
pat of butter. All right. So let's talk about the guest stars. And I do go in order of the portholes just for
excellent.
future reference.
Excellent.
First, we have Sharon Acker, Canadian. That's
Yep.
about it.
Not only, hold on. Not only is
Mm,
she Canadian,
yeah.
in 1969, she was named the Film Star of Tomorrow by the Motion Picture Association of Canada. It was the first time they were given out that award, and it was the first time they were wrong.
Well,
So
I wonder who are future winners of that. Like,
I
geez,
don't know.
Pamela
John
Duck.
Hyde.
Like,
Yeah.
what? Just the worst. Oh, Sharon Acker. Yeah. Yeah, it's
Like her
funny.
IMDb bio is like mentions it, and it's just like, oh, somebody who should have been in more things, but it was like, and she was fine. Like
She was all right.
but I
She
don't know
didn't
who
have
else.
that big of a part either.
Like
She
maybe
wasn't doing
Canada
that
didn't
much.
have any actors in 1969. So.
Maybe they could only act like they're Canadian. That's the problem. They're always, sorry,
Well,
a
based on some of the other Canadians we've seen on this show lately,
yeah,
Monty.
Monty. Canadian Walk of Fame. Is she in the Canadian Walk of Fame, I
I don't
wonder?
know. Shout out to our Canadian listeners if you can tell us A, where the
We'd
Canadian
love
Walk of
to
Fame
know.
is, B, other film stars of tomorrow winners after 1969. You have like 54 to pick from.
Well, also, does Sharon Acker, does she like present Canadian Oscars? Like the, Academy Awards up there?
Oh, the
She's like
Oots?
yeah, the
Yeah, the Oots.
the Oots. Oh, oh Canada.
We'll see you at Project Con in Saskatchewan.
We'll be there. I'll be dressed as Newton Weems, not the bandit, but Newton Weems.
His secret identity.
You'll know it's me by the book I'm reading. Next, we have Todd Bridges, known for many, many not so great things. To be, whoa, he did celebrity wrestling. I don't know if you knew that. He did celebrity boxing. He got this not beat out of him in celebrity boxing. He was Willis on Different Strokes, 1978 to 86. Also on the Barney Miller spinoff Fish for 35 episodes.
Really?
I didn't know. And I think that was the entire run of the show.
So this is the first Different Strokes. We don't get Gary Coleman, right? I mean, he's too big.
I don't know, man.
I just feel like he's too big a star. I don't think we're gonna get
Mm.
the top guy from a lot of these shows.
But it's not as though Gary Coleman was a movie star. They tried.
I know.
I don't think,
Maybe if I bet you if it is, it's back end. It's like 1985. It's like season 8, Gary Coleman.
or it's like next week, or it's like coming up quick because if Different Strokes was 1978 and
Oh, it
this is
just
78,
started.
this is the only chance we
Gotcha.
have
Yeah,
is
that's
like
fair.
now.
Um, but I gotta think everybody else we're getting. Philip Drummond, Dana Plato. I bet you we get Charlotte Rae in there.
I love Charlotte
I don't
Rae.
know if we get replacement Charlotte Rae though.
Mrs. Poole.
Wow, nice pull.
I love that show. I love
And
that show.
the knockoff Joey Lawrence, who ended up being in some of your
Oh,
shorts.
but the new Oliver, whoever his name was, what was his name?
Yes.
With Dixie Carter's.
Oh,
Hi,
right. Forgot Dixie Carter
yeah,
married
Dixie
Philip
Carter was
Drummond.
on
That's
there.
right.
The old jump,
Oh,
the old shark back big time.
man, Different Strokes Project has a way better ending than we do.
God, I
With the
hope so. I
with the
hope
Love
so.
Boat Dancers and no Julie.
Sad. Next, Pat Carroll played the part of Muriel. She is the voice of Ursula in Disney's Little Mermaid.
Had like an amazing like Shakespeare theater career, and I mean, her and Nancy Culp were amazing.
They were
I
great.
would sign up for them to be in every episode. We
Oh,
love those runners, but that was like the best level of it. It was just so good.
yeah, they knocked it out of the park. And the thing
Yeah,
is, it's again, I go back to the Norman Fell. They gave them so little,
yeah.
and look at
They
the
made it.
effort they
Yeah,
put in.
exactly.
Sorry, Norman. Next,
He's never
Billy.
gonna.
He's
He's
never gonna know, will he?
never
All
gonna
right.
get away from it.
Sorry, Norman. Uh, Billy Crystal as Newton Weems, aka the Kissing Bandit. He was on Soap. How many people from Soap are we
I
at now?
wanted to. I didn't do it, and maybe I'll do it next time because
We
I'm
could
sure
get
there'll be another
Soap
soap
count.
person next week. I want to go through the list of everyone who was on soap for more than like 2 episodes because Benson hasn't been on yet. Uh, Mona hasn't been on yet, and Blossom's dad hasn't been on yet. And I think, and the guy with the puppet, I think everybody else has been on.
Wow.
So it's like we are deep into we. This has to be we gotta be close to 10 soaps at this point. I think we've had a soap every week.
But if Soap was on from 77 to 81, I mean, is this just an intentional push to push Soap?
It's an ABC show. So this is, I
Mm.
mean, to me, and I still insist they must be close to the
Oh, they're right
studio.
next door.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's got to be because it is an inordinate amount. It's we stopped keeping official track, but it's a blowout. I mean, no one has gotten anywhere close to this soap. You know, even
Plus,
shows with bigger casts.
plus, I think the part of Newton Weems, he could have filmed that in like 3 hours and been done with his entire part.
Yeah,
Okay, kiss this one, kiss this one, kiss this one, run, 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 done, boom, boom, done. You're out. There you go,
uh,
Billy.
I'd tell you one thing though. Billy Crystal has maybe become a little more. You know, he's past his prime and everything, but like that's a tour de force
Oh, absolutely,
today. I mean that
absolutely.
is an absolute. That's the best Billy Crystal right there.
Well, see how confident he was? Because you
Absolutely.
know what it was? Because he wasn't playing Billy Crystal. That's what I loved about it.
And we'll
And I
get
don't
to
mean
it.
that in a bad way,
No,
but
and we'll get to it, but there's, like, stuff they've done in other episodes that bothered us because it wasn't executed well, and now you
yes,
see what happens when it is.
right, right.
So,
I felt the same way. It's kind of
yep,
like that Bob Crane thing all over again.
very
Like,
much so,
this isn't
very
as
much.
hard.
No.
Or even the Bill Bixby, from the Wimbledon,
Yeah. Well,
which
they
has
were
reached
working with
a
a much shorter.
yeah.
Yeah.
Again, a very good episode in our archives. Wimbledon, and
Wimbledon, and it's, hey, timely too.
timely, very
When
timely.
this episode comes out, we will have just wrapped Wimbledon, I believe.
Who you
Congratulations
telling?
to and
Yeah,
lady player, because man, all the Americans are out, and I don't know anybody who
I don't
made
know
the
either.
cut.
I'm lost.
Yeah.
Uh, quick little funny thing about Billy Crystal, his baseball season. He was a notoriously a big Yankee fan. He went on to become friends with Mickey Mantle. After Mickey Mantle's passing, he was invited to unveil Mantle's monument in Yankee Stadium. Crystal claims that after the ceremony, Joe DiMaggio walked up to him and punched him in the stomach for not calling him the greatest living baseball player, not introducing him as the greatest living baseball player. Walked up and punched him in the stomach.
DiMaggio is such a dick.
He is just a...
Well, you know what's funny too, and I hope Billy Crystal did that on purpose, because the story goes
Yeah.
that Mickey Mantle's legs got screwed up early
Mm-hmm.
because he was playing right field and DiMaggio was playing center field, which is already insane, right? There's your outfield. But DiMaggio refused to like dive for balls. And so Mantle's busting it, and he like steps in a, because it's the 50s, he steps in like a water drain or something in center field and screws his knee up and never really had good legs after that. So I hope Billy Crystal was doing that on purpose.
Was DiMaggio the equivalent of the Corbin Burnson before character in Major League?
So the very
Olay.
good biography of DiMaggio always frames it as he didn't think it looked elegant. He wanted to look elegant, and it was like, it wasn't like he wasn't trying, but it was kind of that thing where he wanted to be in position, so he never had to dive. But on a play like that, anyway, good for Billy Crystal there. Also, Billy Crystal did, I don't always like sports movies, but 61 was very
61
good.
was good, man.
Yeah,
I enjoyed
really
that.
was. Yeah.
Let's move on to Billy Davis. Now, on the porthole, Billy Davis shared a porthole with Marilyn McCoo. I want to make that clear. First double up. He is the real life husband of Marilyn McCoo. He was not half. He was part of the group Fifth Dimension with Marilyn McCoo, who they won a Grammy in 1977 for the song "You Don't Have to Be a Star to Be in My Show." And we will see Marilyn and Billy again in season 4.
Oh,
both
great.
of them.
Great.
Oh, yeah. Billy Davis Jr. is one of the finest. I heard he won the Canadian Next Best Actor.
A might have been last week, a couple weeks ago, I was saying, we don't have any musicians on, like straight up musicians.
You did. And
I would like to apologize for that, because we had 3 musicians on this week and they were all terrible.
It wasn't good.
So I would very much like to apologize for that.
That's funny. Nancy Culp played Gert, best known for her role as Jane Hathaway. Again, she just knocked it out of the park in this episode.
Just so good.
Such a character.
And like the enunciation, the way she said the words and everything. I'm a huge fan. I actually know her as much from. I also know her as much from The Parent Trap, because my sister always watched The Parent Trap, and she's like the camp counselor at the beginning of the movie too, and she's basically playing the same character. But I found a wild fact that I did not research beyond where I saw it, so it may not be true. But who would make it up if it wasn't?
Yeah, who's going to know the difference? All right,
Nancy Culp was the first ever guest on the first ever episode of the first ever talk show that Arsenio Hall hosted.
Wait, hold on. There's a lot to unpack there. Are you talking about the Arsenio Hall and Fox show, like after the Joan Rivers thing got canceled when he had that brief show?
It wasn't the classic Arsenio Hall show. Right. It was what became the Arsenio Hall show, but it was kind of like when they were all filling in.
When they were doing the Chevy Chase thing for a while too. Yeah.
Apparently Nancy Culp was the first guest, which is just
what
wild.
Was she promoting? Like what?
I don't know.
The Beverly Hillbillies?
Being tall. Did they have like a Beverly Hillbillies reunion maybe?
Maybe. Well, they had a Beverly Hillbilly movie. I wonder if there was some kind of...
I think she had maybe passed away by then.
Huh. Maybe she was there for her enunciation abilities.
Because I think Lily Tomlin played that role in that movie.
Oh, I don't even...
It's not a terrible movie for what it is. Jim Varney was a solid Jed Clampett.
Well, Shakespearean actor Jim Varney. Let's not...
That's for Ernest Project.
Yeah, that's for the Ernest Project.
Or Beverly Hillbillies Project. I'm not sure.
The Beverly, right?
Because I promised if we finish this whole thing and then they do a Love Boat movie, we will do the movie. So,
Oh, absolutely. Well,
like a
they're going to
feature
do a
length
movie after
film, not
this.
a TV movie, like an actual.
No, no, it's going to be. I mean, it's going to be. They're probably going to ask us about casting. It's going to be a big deal.
Who's the modern day Stuvik?
It's just a fool, Mr. Bean. You know,
I'd watch that.
is there an
I would watch
American Mr.
Mr. Bean.
Bean that we can find somewhere? Next on the ship is the other member of the Fifth Dimension, Marilyn McCoo. Um, I remember her most from the '80s musical TV show Solid Gold.
Solid Gold.
It was on every weekend. That was such a syndicated hit. Like it was.
I did a little YouTube dive. I was like, I
Yeah,
just want to make sure that I'm not misremembering Solid Gold, right?
sure.
And there's an episode from like 1984, and it's got Rick Springfield
Lip
and
syncing, huh?
Latoya Jackson and Bill Medley. And Bill Medley does a song with Madam.
Oh, I wonder if she gets on the ship.
Oh. So who? They're like the late 70s, early 80s was a heyday for puppets. Like, there's
Yeah,
no way we're
yeah.
not getting Willie Tyler and Lester, right?
That he's got to make the rounds, like
That would be
TV show
shocking. I would
rounds.
actually be shocking if we don't.
It's got to happen. It's got to
Yeah.
happen. That was such a.
Yep.
It was a
Yeah,
huge
Madam would be
thing
good. Maybe if they go to London with that that life
from
preserver
LA.
that's in the back.
Wait, how long is this cruise again? It's 153 days. The guest star list is just pages and pages. Oh God. They're all eating limes. They don't get scurvy along the way.
It's just the boat from Armistead. It's not even
It
the
goes
ship.
bad. You gotta look for like, Somalian pirates.
Oh,
It's
God.
it's a
I mean,
movie.
listen, at some point, they're gonna start having to do stuff like that. Now, how the logic works, I don't know, but maybe it's like when they blow up the Enterprise.
I mean, right. There has to be, and
The
then what?
Atlantic Princess. Yeah. Done and
Oh, the
done. Yeah.
Atlantic. Uh,
That's Captain Norton's boat.
there he is. There he is. Hello. Same guest. Those same two are in the same room. Uh, Other thing about Marilyn McCoo and Billy Davis was that they were the first African American married couple to host a network TV series. The short-lived Marilyn McCoo and Billy Davis Jr. show that was on in the
Wow.
summer of 1977. I think it
Man.
had something to do with the title, why it didn't go for. I mean, that's just. I mean, come on.
Well, remember, I think it was sometime early last season where we looked
Mm,
one up. Those variety shows would just come and go in the summer. Because
I
there was a
love them.
variety show with like Mel Tillis and a person I've never heard of. And it's like, so good for them. Based on what I saw today, I hope they sang a lot. Because I was shocked how not good Marilyn McCoo was at acting. Because I mean, she talked all the time on Solid Gold.
She read cue cards basically.
Oh, it was bad.
I
It
mean,
was bad.
what's funny though is be careful what you ask for because you did ask for
I
this.
did.
You
I
wanted
did. Now I
music,
wanted a
people.
band. When I was talking about it, I wanted a band, but
The Eagles on the
yeah,
like,
yeah, well, Skinner. Are Skinner
oh,
still available? I'm not sure if they're still available.
I think this
We're
is
getting
right around
close.
plane crash
We're
time.
getting
Yeah,
close.
yeah,
Yeah. No.
maybe. Had they done this show, they might have lived. If the timing
Oh,
might have been a little better.
you're
I
not putting a
leave here
boat into the
tomorrow.
trees of.
Woo.
You're not putting a boat into the low hanging trees of Florida or wherever that was. So,
They're not. Yeah, they're the Tennessee River. What's the
oh,
Pacific print? Do do
no.
do. No. An old friend of the show, Robert Reed, is back as Frank McLean,
Stubby nominee.
Stubby nominee. We're going to see him
Yeah.
4 more times after this.
Well, I hope they give him a little something better to do. He was so good in the first one, and I mean, he was just doing his job here. But I hope they
There
give him something better to do next time. That was
there were some weird
disappointing.
moments from him in this episode that I picked up
Well, I
on that
mean,
were a
Mike,
little
the man was shot to death. I mean,
right. Like Yeah, that was wild. That was wild. I bet you Robert Reed seems like, and maybe I'm way off. He just seems like he'd be a nice guy where they'd be like, "Hey, Robbie, this is what we want you to do," and he'd be like, "Okay, great, sounds good."
Yeah.
Like it just,
Hey, we have this real stinker and
yeah,
we got Tennille.
yeah. We
Do you
got
want to get in on
Tennille.
this?
Oh,
You don't have to do anything. You don't have to
nothing,
emote. You don't have to emote
nothing,
at all.
nothing. She'll do
Like, I
well.
mean,
It's
look
just
at what he did in season 1, right? He's
right.
shooting skeet.
Yep,
He's bedding his ex-wife.
yep.
He's drinking
Drinking
what was
whiskey
the
sours.
whiskey sours.
Yeah,
Like this was a sadder Mike Brady.
yeah. He was having sex with his ex-wife while he was on the boat with his new woman
Yep.
while she was playing bingo with it's
Yeah.
crazy. The whole thing was
And
crazy.
comeuppance, a big fat 0.
0.
That's right.
Uh, Tony Tennille as Suzanne Henderson. Interesting. Of course, she's one half of the 70s duo Captain and Tennille. Interesting. The captain's real name? Daryl Dragon.
Yeah, I knew it was something dragon.
Why
Yeah.
wouldn't you just go? Why wouldn't you do Dragon and Tennille? You have the coolest last name ever. The captain? You're not Daryl Captain. You know how lame that is compared to.
Why isn't he Captain Dragon?
Boom. That just blew my mind.
I
Captain
mean,
Dragon.
it worked out, but I see your point. Was there, like, maybe another dragon? Were dragons, like, passé in the
Yeah,
70s?
like he was like, it's been done. What?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? It's
Sorry.
your name.
Yeah.
So
Well,
and we'll.
well, here's the thing, though. Is it
Mm,
his name?
oh, he could
Is it
have.
layer upon layer? Is it Mort Saul is
The
his name?
Truman
Like,
Show all over again.
um, Tony Tennille got progressively worse at the acting as the episode went on. I'm not saying she
Lot
was
of
good in the beginning, but she was passable. But by the end, she was just as bad as Marilyn McCoo
I,
and Billy Davis. So
when we look back at the end of the season, there's some potential like worst appearance by a musician slash singer. There's 3 real strong candidates right
we don't
here.
have that. We'll have to make that
It's
category.
them.
So is that the Jim Stafford
That's
Awards?
just jamming. We be jamming Jim Stafford award. Anyway, so okay, and then the Lori Walters played Roberta Potter. Again, she was an 8 is enough cast
Yeah.
member. And we'll see her again in season 4, as well as Tony Tennille, not Daryl Dragon.
I've learned a couple things here. So first of all, I just
Tell
don't
me.
know anything about Eight is Enough. So because she looked
She looks
she has a
familiar,
look
man.
about her that I was like, "Oh, I feel like I should recognize her." And then I did see that she was in a Cheers episode, so I at least knew her from that.
Mm,
Um, but she was one of the daughters in Eight is Enough. We don't know anything about Eight is Enough. We need
I know
somebody from Eight is
nothing.
Enough project to get
Please.
in here and help us. But fun fact, in real life, she dated a co-star from Eight is Enough, her brother on the show,
Adam Rich?
and and former friend and probable stubby nominee for the worst, Captain Dave.
Oh, Dave, who sang
Yeah,
the theme song,
yeah.
Mr.
And
Theme Song.
it is enough for love.
Guy stinks.
Yeah.
He's very
Good actor, though.
authoritative, though. I will give him
But
that.
she's got a type, though.
Oh, yeah.
People on the Love Boat.
Yeah,
So,
anybody on the Love Boat.
who treat women against their will.
To do something potentially illegal.
Right.
Right. And you have a questionable backstory about being in the army. And okay. Anyway, but I tried to put David behind us, but man, that dude Captain Dave
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah. Cat and Dave, I think by now they're divorced. It's been, what, 2 weeks in show life? They're already divorced.
Oh, they're done. They're done. As quick
Be
as people
funny
fall
if
in
the wife
love, they
showed up. See, that's what would have been funny if the wife would have showed up, like, in the background this week, making out with some guy.
just some little like
Just give
Easter
me a
eggs.
little Easter egg. Just a little,
I think that's all the housekeeping before we hop on the boat. Anything to add before we get going?
Yeah, you mentioned the big thing with the portals, which was the double up with Marilyn McCoo and
Hmm.
Billy Davis. We did get a couple what I think were poses.
I
Todd
agree.
Bridges definitely posed. I think Robert Reed posed. So we're kind of splitting the difference between like stuff they pull from the actual show and people posing. So I don't know what the rhyme or reason is for it. But I'm looking forward to. I'm okay with the variety, but no one's really made a meal
No,
out of the portals yet. I feel like this is where we need like a return appearance from Shecky Green or Joe E. Ross or one of those
just
guys.
some
They're
sort
really
of.
gonna ham it up. Yeah. So
Well, it's funny because I put some notes here too, and I felt like some of the shots in the porthole were like footage from shooting of the episode.
yes.
Meaning like the who did I Nancy Culp
Yes.
specifically. Like
Yeah.
they just look like B-roll. Like it was
Yeah.
weird.
It was egregious a couple weeks ago because like no one was looking straight on
Yeah,
and like because we watch these things twice or whatever at least and so you can kind of pick it out where it's like oh right that's from that scene where it's like and that's not what I think of.
exactly.
That's not what I think of the portals. I want you to have your 3 seconds and do something.
I like a little
Make it
consistency. Yeah, do a little
make a choice. Just make a
like
choice. It
something.
could be you. It could be the character.
You got to go
It
character,
could be a third thing.
you know?
But
Like if you're Henry Winkler and you're on the Love Boat, you can't give the Fonzie that.
how
You
did this
can't do that,
jukebox get on the deck?
right? How is all the plumbing fixed? We just saw some Italian American gentleman hit it with his hip. Very strange.
But he can't say A, so it's like,
Are you a plumber?
whoa.
B. All right.
Ah.
Poor Henry Winkler. Actually, I heard he's like a wonderful human being. So
Definitely will not be on.
no, no,
No
no, no, no.
chance.
There's
No
zero
chance.
chance. I agree. All right, let's get on the boat. We see Captain Steubing approach a lady passenger. This is Evelyn, the Canadian actress we talked about
Future
earlier.
star. Future star.
Uh, she asks him if he's the person in charge. He says yes. She says, "You must be Gopher." And I'm like,
Wah, wah.
yeah, take that, Meryl.
This boat is not even out of port yet. People are getting on it, and he's got time to just be wandering around.
Just, well, it's interesting that you say that, right? I did a little research. I know Amin said that when he got on the boat, he met the captain, right? But I just have a hard time understanding this. Well, apparently, captains greet passengers when boarding and leaving cruise ships because it's a long standing tradition in the cruise industry. It's seen as a way to welcome guests and to provide a personal touch. But here's the real thing, they don't drive the ship ever.
Twist.
There's a pilot, a cruise ship pilot. He drives the ship. So Steubing doesn't even.
So he doesn't do either job though, because this
Right,
is not what you're saying. That's not this.
right,
He's wandering around, shuffling around
right.
aimlessly.
He's not like welcome aboard. He's just
No, it's
kind of
not like there's
mulling.
7 people in line.
Right. So I essentially I feel like he's like a Walmart greeter.
But then
You
you'd
hire
hire
a sweet, non-threatening, balding man, and he, hey, welcome to Walmart. What other?
then why does he get to pretend that he's the captain?
Well,
Like the
I think he's in charge of,
he's the
I don't
general
know, the
manager of the
public.
hotel.
Ooh, I don't know about GM. I
Well, that's
mean,
gotta be the top spot though, right? I mean, like I don't know. I think we need to get a captain. We need to get a cruise line captain on.
we need to get
So,
a cruise line. We almost need like a diagram. Like, do you have Visio? Can we break out some
if
sort of
if what you're saying
leadership?
is correct,
Yeah,
that explains some of it,
yeah, but
but
then it
he's
leaves
also not
more.
doing the other part enough.
I
Then
want to know, like, well, who reports to the captain of the ship?
I would
Is it
assume
everybody?
everybody.
Yeah, but if he's just this
But if
guy,
he's not the pilot, right? If he's not the pilot and something happens
right?
to the pilot, does he jump in?
Probably
What's he
got a
doing with
backup
the
pilot
walkie-talkie and the electrical cords? Like, what's he doing?
with a steering wheel that's not even plugged in. They're just
Right.
made it. There's nothing. There's nothing. What are you even doing out there? He probably doesn't. I don't know. I don't know. Because then I'm
Well,
like,
he's
well, they have to hire him as former something, right? How do you become? What are the prerequisites to being a ship captain on a cruise ship? Like,
not
you have to be
much.
a crabbing ship
I
captain. I
mean,
don't know.
look at the guy. Look at Captain Cunningham from the season opener. That guy was a deputy
Oh,
captain, and he didn't know anything. He's one heartbeat away from being a captain.
he knew nothing. Well, there it
No.
is. I mean, them somewhere in there is the answer.
I guess my point is if you're not gonna be driving the boat,
Right.
then you better be the best damn greeter in town, and he's
Right.
not that either because there's nobody in this corner of the boat, and if
Well,
she looked like Nancy Culp, he wouldn't have gone over there.
no. Well, think about it too. If his job essentially, right, if one of his jobs is to give things so you feel like a personal touch with the greeting, the meeting and the greeting and the dinners. He was being creepy as all hell during the dinners too with
Yeah.
he carved out time. We'll get
Yeah, he
there.
had personal
We'll
touch
get
for
there.
one person,
Exactly.
and she
Uh
hated it.
mhm. Yeah.
So
Uh so she says again, you must be go for Steubing then introduces himself and salutes her. Yeah, that's what you do, Steubing. Salute her. What an idiot, man. Like there's just zero. What why would you salute her?
do you think he was, like, injured and the
Oh,
princess line was
head
just
injury.
like, it's easier to just have him pretend he's the captain?
Like they let him wash the windows kind of thing, like the
Right,
guy at
yeah.
A5, right? The
Like,
A plus.
there's a guy who, used to stand at the, Bridge and Pratt Frankfurt terminal, and he would stand at the back door of buses and take your transfers, which seemed unnecessary, but my guess is they were paying him for something, so maybe he's that.
Maybe. It's just odd because I can see the other jobs and the roles. I don't know. I'd love to have a talk with the HR person at the Pacific Princess in 1978. Get some real answers.
That person is tied up in a closet somewhere based on
Oh,
the way
in
this
a
boat behaves.
cloud of cigarette smoke, bunch of ashtrays. She says her room is in Promenade. She says, "Where's Promenade 344?" And he offers to escort her. To your point,
Yeah,
this is one. You say,
one
"Hey,
person.
welcome aboard," blah 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 blah, blah and keep it moving.
Right.
Time for
You're
this.
not going up there stooping. There's no
He's just
reason for you to be going to promenade deck room 344.
he's just like a sad, like
Yeah.
hornball dude that
I
just
do think ultimately they were setting it up for him to be a sad sack. Like at least they weren't,
yeah, yeah.
he was properly contained this week in terms of he was being a doofus and was treated as such,
Well, they
So even
highlighted it like you say to
right,
for the
right.
benefit of the story, but
Right, even with
still.
his little temper tantrum. The worst versions of him are when
So when
it's
he got all
inconsistent
PO'd,
in the episode.
yeah.
So it's like when he started to yell at the crew later on, I was like, and then they backed off real quick and basically showed that he was just being petulant.
Well,
So
didn't he have like that crew meeting early on? Maybe in episode one at like 3 o'clock in the morning or something like that. Because he
oh yeah,
was
he had that. Well, he had the one where he was hungry and he started yelling at everybody.
that's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
So yeah, he's a baby. He's a
He's a
big
baby.
baby.
He's a baby that salutes when he gets
Much
nervous.
like much like my, proclamation about the musicians acting, a couple weeks ago, I was like, "Oh, man, this is a better stuving," and they've just put him right in the toilet since then, so I'm just gonna stop saying things, I think. So
And look, they can bring in a continuity expert, but good luck. Good luck
yeah.
with that. I think that road is pretty well paved at this point going
Yeah.
against season two.
Yeah.
Like you can't make him this like respected like elder. I'm going to give you great wisdom and advice kind of person. It's too
Right.
late.
Or he should be a monk, right? Like, he should never be
Yes,
hitting on women.
that's right.
He should either
That's
be
right.
awesome at hitting on women or never hit on women, but he
Never,
can't do this.
never. We already have it enough with the doc thing.
Yeah, we're
Like you don't
good.
need
We're
Captain dip
all
into
good
that
here. Yeah.
character.
So
Enter Newton Weems. I just want to make a note. I guess they heard what you said about the overuse of Foster. That's why his name is Newton Weems and not Newton Foster or
I mean,
Foster Newton.
I respect the fact this is what they used to do on TV. Like, you're a nerd, here's a nerdy name.
Oh, the nerdiest
And then he
name.
got a nerdy job later. It's like, just to
Map
make sure.
map creator.
Yeah, like, so Newton
Yeah,
Weems is, that's exactly
perfect.
what that name should be, so.
Total geek gimmick. Perfect.
Yep.
Weems and Roberta Potter meet and bond over being left out of things. Julie offers to put them at the same table for dinner because they're both traveling alone. And I was like, hold on. Hold on. It's this happens every week.
Right.
It is so forced. Do you think that's part of the cruise? Is this a singles hookup cruise? Do they like is it marketed as that? Because they try to stick people together
I think
at all costs.
Julie has to finish these table assignments, and anything that she can use to get a box
Fair enough.
checked is what she's doing.
Fair enough.
So,
I have two singles left. Yeah, fair enough. I get
yeah,
that.
exactly, right.
Roberta and Weems agree to have dinner together. Weems drops his garment bag, but very quickly picks it up before Gopher can help him. Sure, that's not going to mean anything later on.
It's not like, it would've been obvious. It's not like the Kissing Bandit costume was, like, all lead or something, like.
It wasn't dressed up like Iron Man. You know,
Yeah,
it was very it was a simple, yeah, or like the San Diego Chicken. It wasn't
right,
bulky.
right, it was pretty small
Yeah,
costume. Yeah,
everything was pretty thin.
cape, mask, hat. I'm pretty sure I can get it,
Mhm.
like, at
Oh,
a
don't
store.
top hats, don't they go flat too?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And the cane, you know,
Yeah.
and the chapstick. Had a couple
And,
chapsticks in
probably
there
the
too.
French lessons too.
Just less in that book. That
Yep.
book's in there too.
He's got a deck of those, got a sheet of chin cards.
He's gonna make his money playing gin. The masked gin. We now see the fifth dimension board the ship with Todd Bridges. Let me try that again. We see Lenore, Michael Sr. and Michael Jr. board the ship, and we hear them screaming for Ike. And I'm looking around. Who?
Eisenhower. Dwight
Yeah.
D.
Are you kidding? Big D's here? What? Come on. How is Ike short for Isaac?
That's a thing.
Well, how is Ike short for Dwight? Or was it Dwight Isaac
No, it was
Isaac
Dwight D.
Eisenhower?
It was
Huh?
Dwight D. Eisenhower. I don't know
So
why
where'd
he
he
was
get
named
so
Ike.
where'd he got Ike from?
Eichenhower? I don't know
Eichenhower?
why.
Isaac?
I
That's what
actually
I'm
don't
saying.
know why Eisenhower is named Ike.
See?
I know why Isaac is named Ike. It makes sense.
Makes sense to me as well.
Yeah, because like Isaac Austin was a basketball player who they nicknamed Ike Austin.
I
That's
remember
probably how I
Isaac
knew that.
Austin.
Yeah.
Um, they board the ship, they all hug, and Isaac is introduced to Michael Jr., which is what you said before. Isaac could not, they
No,
weren't friends. Like they lost
there
touch
was
big time.
no indication that Isaac knew they were coming on the boat.
Yeah.
There was no indication that Isaac had been invited to the wedding. He said he
Yeah.
heard they got married.
And that
And yeah,
12 years ago comment, that weird.
he hasn't met the child. Like, if you don't meet a child in 12 years, you guys aren't friends.
No,
You're
no,
just not.
no. They all hug and he's introduced. So then we see Suzanne Henderson entering the ship. She is Tennille. She's saying, I have to be on this cruise. She's all panicky, panicky, panicky. Power of the clipboard, which somehow it's updated at a moment's notice. There's always a refresh button on a paper clipboard. He's like, oh, I happen to have a cancellation.
Somebody's running out with a piece of paper, like off a dot matrix printer.
It's just running. Just rip, and I'm running the new one down. So ridiculous. In walks Frank McLean, and Suzanne is eyeing him down. Gopher again with the like singles cruise sort of vibe. Do you know him? Would you like me to arrange an introduction? And she coldly says, we've already met. I was like, yeah, it's going to get weird. She walks up to Frank. Do we know each other? She says. And man, he gives her a look that is just like, I don't know who you are. Just leave me alone.
Yeah.
Like, not a friendly, no, I've never, there was nothing friendly about that. Just like, beat it. Uh, Gopher was laughing at her, ha ha ha. And Doc says it's all in the delivery, tries the same line, and she gives him a no but nice try.
So there's plenty of places we can talk about it, but
Sure.
like Frank goes on this cruise to run away, basically, right? Like
More or
he's
less, yeah.
he's at some form of hiding, whether he's hiding from his responsibilities or hiding from the DA's office
Well,
subpoena or hiding from the
paranoia.
mafia,
Yeah,
whatever it is.
paranoia.
Right. So while I think why would this miserable man get on this cruise ship? He might not have been miserable if this woman hadn't chased him down from New York and just literally brought up the bar shooting every 5 minutes.
Dude, she pushed so hard.
Oh my god, she's not even subtle.
I
Like,
was like,
have
why isn't
one
this guy
conversation. Here's the thing, have one conversation where you don't talk about
right?
it,
Everything.
right? You can't have it every time. He's gonna well, exactly what's gonna
Like,
happen is gonna
so when I think I'm falling in love. Like, what are you talking about?
happen. I mean, he got shot, to be fair.
You want to see the scar? She's like, no. Uh, Gert and Muriel board the
Yes,
love them.
yes.
Uh, Muriel says we should have taken a bus to Mexico. Uh, she's heard about Love Boat Lotharios. She's an episode too late.
I
Or is it
know,
two
right?
episodes? Or no, two, right? Isn't it two? With hello, ladies. When are you going to
Oh,
stop living in the
with the
past?
cruise ship Casanova, yeah, that's right.
He'd have been perfect for them.
Oh, he would have cleaned up with those 2.
Oh, let me fix your shirt for you. She's heard about Lotharios and that they'll have to keep their guard up while they're on the cruise. Doc approaches, says, hi, ladies, in a non threatening way.
Yep.
And Gert responds with possibly the worst looking karate chop I've ever seen in my life. But it was hilarious.
Oh god, just
She
so
she
funny.
rules.
Just so funny, just so funny immediately.
The
Just so good.
timing, just perfect.
Oh, awesome.
Now, I thought this was odd. In my mind, the portholes sort of replace the close ups for the ticker tape.
Yes, and
But
now
we've
we've
got
gotten
this ticker
2 weeks
tape.
2 weeks in a row of the wave shots.
So we see ticker tape Lenore, Mike Jr., Mike Sr., Frank looking like the 1 mile stare, like he just got back from WW2.
Frank Frank, buddy, go
Yeah,
inside,
why are
man.
you out there, man? Go back to your cabin and smoke. Just go back and what are you doing? Like nobody, you didn't have to. It took effort to get,
No,
you went up there to just,
just mope. Like,
oh,
I
and
don't
then we
like
see
I don't
Suzanne like
like the
just
wave
staring
sh
him down.
I don't
Hmm?
like the wave shots still being in it.
It-
I don't need it.
and I'm not trying to, it makes no sense.
Yeah,
Who's throwing anything?
yeah, yeah,
You don't, again, I go back to the airport thing. The departures, it's not people throwing paper in a hallway while you're leaving. Oh, enjoy your, this doesn't make any sense.
yeah, and I and
And who's
I
cleaning it all up?
I have no problem with them doing it before the portholes, but once you put the portholes in, you've established everybody's on the boat. You have to defy logic for some of these people to go up there.
Right,
Again, there's
right.
no reason for Frank to go up there.
No.
Like, 0 reason.
It's just a time waster at this point.
Right.
We've
So,
already seen all this.
yeah.
I mean, it was an impressive,
The only thing I
one
can
mile
think
stare. Hmm.
is maybe they
What, to
shot
advance
him
the
before they
story?
well, or maybe they shot him before they realized the portals were gonna catch on, and they were like, yeah, or it's padding. I mean, I don't know. I would be surprised if it's consistent, but I wasn't expecting to see it at all. I certainly wasn't expecting to see it 2 weeks in a row.
Maybe they just don't view the ticker tape. Maybe they don't look at it as an either or for some
Well,
reason.
clearly. I
I
mean,
mean,
clearly they don't. Yeah.
because I sort of, the ticker tape has been there since the first episode. So is that more of a trademark thing? I mean, at this point, it is. I
In the
just wonder if
moment, it
that's,
is, but for
yeah.
people at the end, yeah, I didn't even know it was the thing. So,
Mm-mm.
at some point, it probably falls off, I would imagine.
I could see
But
doing it if it advanced the story somehow.
right. So maybe you do it like selectively, like if you're gonna have two storylines kind of crash into each other or something like that.
Well, it's the only problem is it's
But
so loud. It's not like you can get any dialogue off.
no,
The only way you
it's
can
all silent film acting. Like
just have
that's why
somebody
it's so
jump.
over the top sometimes.
Yeah. Well, just like the portals. That's why we want though.
Right. Exactly.
Um, we see Weems in his cabin, white tuxedo on with tails and a black mask. Puts on his black cape and black hat. There's a lot of prep, by the way. Walks out of his cabin after closing his cape in the door, which I thought was kind of funny. Like
Yep.
it made him less imposing. You didn't know
And
what.
there's just little touches like the smile with the mask
Hmm.
and the straightening of the brim of the hat. It's just like he is a different person in that, but it's also like this is what happens when you leave this in the hands of a skilled comedic actor.
Yeah, yeah,
So
he was great. He walks out of his cabin after he closed his cape, which made me funny. Sees someone from housekeeping. He hides in a closet. And when she tries to open the door, he opens the door and gives her a smooch. Uh, a smooch so good that she completely loses balance and flips upside down in a laundry cart.
yep, that's a good smooch.
I don't know what kind of chapstick this guy's wearing or what's going on, but he is
Well,
just slaying women with some smooches on this ship.
I mean, if you're the lady in housekeeping, right, you're just going to put some towels in the room, and all of a sudden you're getting swept off your feet, literally. Like that's a good day of work.
Surprising day at work. How's
I
she
will
going to get out of that
say,
basket? How do you explain that?
I will. That's a good point. She's still there.
She's
I
still
will
there.
say that that janitor's closet really gets some action.
Jack Ritter's,
You
his
got John
outfits in
Ritter's in
there.
there, and
A
yeah,
lot of stuff in
a
there.
lot of yeah. Didn't somebody else get thrown in there at some point? I think so.
I think so. I think the monkey got thrown in there.
I think O'Rourke was in there at one
O'Rourke
point.
was
Like,
in
yeah.
there. Hmm?
So
And I wrote, "Is this guy the best smoocher ever?" Mm, who'd have thunk it?
he's so if we think about like we always talked about your boy Robert Urich and
Hmm.
Julie, that kiss went so badly that they both agreed it was terrible. This is the polar opposite of this.
It is. They just can't. They lose all. They lose their faculties.
Yeah, they do.
We see Frank. He is entering his cabin. Here comes Suzanne. Jeez.
Like how this is
Good.
a big boat. This is a big boat. The fact that you can find anybody on this boat is remarkable. But
Well, the
yet these people are
timing.
always have this drop on
Yeah,
on
it's always right as
unsuspecting
they're about to
folks.
go in. Right.
Yeah. Oh,
Ugh. She taps him on the shoulder. She says that she knows him from a place called Cody's. Again, the look on his face alone is like, go away, lady.
yeah. Yeah.
He says he's never heard of it, goes in his cabin, closes the door. There comes Doc. Doc gives another shot saying he's been to Cody's. Suzanne's just not having any of it.
No. No.
Okay, so at this point, the Suzanne thing's a little crazy. She's already come up once, she's already come up twice. To me, if it ended here, everything would be fine. Okay.
Like she hasn't crossed the line yet.
Right.
Okay.
She kind of did, but I could, you know what I mean? I don't know. I've never. It's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to see her be so pushy. Like it's uncomfortable.
Well, ultimately, because it's for a reason, I
Hmm.
think it can be justified from her point of view.
Fair enough.
Um,
Fair enough.
I don't, and it's a very specific thing, right? It's like it's not like she's pushing Girl Scout cookies. Like, I mean, it is a murder of her brother.
She's
Spoiler.
asking a lot, or she's like leaning into asking a lot.
Yeah. I guess my bigger question is like, how did she know he was going to skate from testifying? Like, how did she put all this
How's she know
together?
he's
Is
on
she like
this ship?
working with the district attorney? Is this like a Jack
Well,
McCoy? Did Jack McCoy send her? Julie's real father, Jack McCoy.
perhaps it was Quincy. It was
No.
murder, Sam. Um, we got to think too, right? We're talking 1978. Obviously, there's no computer. There's no, how would she
So
track
the only thing, as someone who's watched a lot of Dateline and a lot of cold
mm,
case shows, my
from the
guess is
set?
she is. I mean, put it this way: if she's this naggy with this guy, you think she's not talking to the cops and the
Yeah,
DA all the
yeah,
time?
right. Just like here's all the info.
Please leave. So,
Please leave.
yes. You know what? I don't know. He went on some cruise in Los Angeles.
Something called the Pacific Princess. I think it
All the
leaves
way
Saturday
across
at
the
1.
country out of my hair.
Uh, just we bought her a one-way bus ticket, just get her out of
I
wherever.
guess.
Yeah, she's just oof.
It's like what's his name? Huggy Bear when he was running around with his mistress. It's like there's only one way this plan doesn't work for Robert Reed, right?
Right.
It's like
Right.
literally this. Like this
Right. This is
one
the only thing that
only
could have
way.
gone wrong.
If he had just gotten into the lobby 10 minutes earlier, he would have been fine. He could have
Why didn't he
just
just stay in Mexico in one of the stops? That's what I would have done. And just
I
been
don't know
like,
because I
I
mean,
can't
we
deal
don't
with this woman.
well, it's not just that, but it's like, what are you going back to? He doesn't it sounds like he lost his job and, he's got some 4-month gunshot injury.
I bet he doesn't even live there anymore.
New York?
Yeah, I don't maybe New
I
York State, but, like, I don't think he is anywhere near
Cody's.
because she would have tried to find him there.
Yeah, the only thing I could think is that he was on the witness list and then got cold feet, like, last minute.
It just ditched town
Well, because this week, the boat is not sold out, so
by 1.
maybe he's just like, "You know what I've heard good things about? My good friend, uh, the guy who tried to kill
Oh,
Walter Perry." Says
that guy hear Christmas carols. Yeah. Yeah, that's
my other
funny, yeah.
revenge friends say
Yeah,
it's a
the
good boat.
only thing that could mess this up is very specific. Let me lay it out for you. It all happened. Nice going, sir. Uh, we are poolside, and we see Lenore, Mike Sr. and Jr. sitting at the bar with Isaac working, quote unquote, working behind the bar. First thing I see, all the adults are drinking, it looks like champagne, and Mike Jr. is drinking some poolside milk. Who's drinking milk on a hot, sunny day off the shores of Mexico and California? Nobody.
Oh, man. That's why he called Isaac a jive bartender.
The
All he
jive
had was
bartender
milk.
giving me 2% on the high seas. You couldn't give me a Shirley Temple? Come on, dog. That's terrible.
It is weird they would even have milk. I mean, just give the kid well, you know what? Nobody drank, like, water in 1978.
Well,
So,
we
soda,
had to drink
though?
milk
You can
for
give him soda?
every
You know they got a
yeah, I
soda
gotta
gun
think.
back there.
I don't know. Maybe they were trying to really sell that whole rich thing. You know what I mean?
Milk
Like we
is
have money.
milk is the sign of
You must drink
affluence.
milk. Yeah, I could be wrong. But it is true. Growing up, we had milk was with you drank milk with every meal. People didn't drink water back then.
No.
Did
I,
they even make bottled water back then?
I don't think so. I, I drank a lot of milk as a kid or whatever, but I would never have milk at a pool. It just seems like a
No.
terrible choice.
I had a friend who loved milk so much they would put ice in their milk
Oh.
to keep it like super cold. But I was like,
Oh.
I'm more of a sipper. Like that would
That was
be
always
terrible.
that was always a sign that something was wrong with your fridge, if there was
If you
ice
got
in your
ice in
milk.
your milk. Oh, that's
Yeah.
true. I never liked it, especially with the individual ones in school. They'd be
Oh,
slightly frozen. It was like,
you're
damn it.
already yeah, and you're already drinking it out of a carton, like
Yeah,
a
it
yeah.
stinks.
I feel bad for Todd Bridges now that he got stuck with milk. There's so many
Pools
things
like
you could have had
milk,
on a
lemonade, iced tea.
yeah, lemonade, like, these are all bar accoutrements that he could
Right.
have had. Yeah.
Didn't Isaac make his award-winning iced tea? Wasn't that a thing from an old episode? I could have
Coffee.
swore coffee.
Coffee.
I mean, give the kid coffee, whatever.
Yeah.
What's he gonna do? Give him some decaf.
Maybe this is what set Todd Bridges off on a bad path.
This is what did it, is
More
that
milk.
milk was his, gateway. They're talking about their old singing group. And their old song, their old original song, "The Language of Love." Hey, you know what? Let's perform this sucker poolside right now.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine you're like on the other side of the pool, right? It's the first day. You're like reading a book. Your kids are in the pool, maybe. Oh, maybe we'll go get a drink. That milk looks pretty tasty. Maybe we'll run over there. And all of a sudden, the bartender and just two other people get up and start doing an elaborate song
Oh.
and dance. Like, I would think I'm in like a Rodgers and Hammerstein movie. Like, all of a sudden, it's just
Or a Lone Star Steakhouse. One of the two. Like, do they do this every 20
somebody's
minutes?
birthday.
It was so it was awkward, man. I have goosebumps thinking about it because it was just so
But you
ugh.
knew they were getting in a song.
Oh,
Like, that is why you have musicians on. I'm actually more impressed that Tennille didn't try to sing her plea to Robert Reed, but,
well, she's an
um
actress now, Mike.
oh,
She's not just a singer.
and it was fine. It was actually wasn't a terrible song.
It wasn't terrible. It was what it
I'll
was.
disagree with Michael Senior too. There's always room for doo-wop, but, I just can't imagine. Also, what if you're, like, at the bar? Like, I'd like a
Waiting for
drink,
your
maybe.
next drink of some
Yeah,
pool appropriate drink,
yeah,
Planter's Punch,
yeah. I'm trying to get a
something,
rum Collins here, Ike.
nothing.
Sorry, I have to go dance.
Sorry, I'm dancing. I'm performing the language of love.
Maybe you've heard of it. No?
Uh, I wrote they perform the song poolside because why not? Uh, Mike
Everything
Jr.
happens
wants
on the Lido deck.
oh,
Everything
it's a
happens on the
wild
Lido deck.
card, man.
That's the only thing we know about cruises from our guests.
You got
Everything
AM
happens on the Lido.
ballet, you
Yeah.
got everything going on here. You got
Lectures,
almost murder. You
adult
got a
screen.
lot. You got
Computer
you got
dating.
captains can't count. You got computer dating. You know, you have two people that just say two things, an ad Funicello, just terribly sad.
Ping pong.
Ping pong. There's so much that happens.
Screw the boat.
It's
We just need the Lido deck.
I think the Lido deck's almost like the new Globe Theater. It's just everything happens on a Lido deck. Uh, yeah, Mike Jr. wants to learn it, and Mike Senior's like, no, 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 I'm not having any of that. Like, no, 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 no. You're
No
not
son of
gonna
mine's gonna
no
do
son of mine.
doo-wop.
Drink now, finish your milk, Mike Jr. They leave to get changed for the quote unquote captain's cocktail party.
Yeah.
My note, he's basically Captain Crunch, just a mascot. Wouldn't that be funny if he had like to wear a mascot head where it was just a bigger version of his head?
He just had a
You know,
blue hat.
I'm stupid. Just,
Isaac, the Soggies are here.
it just that's funny. We cut to a
I feel like the captain's cocktail party, they've thrown it in a couple times. I was
yeah.
actually surprised they didn't actually go to it. But, I thought that was kinda like, how we thought that the captain's dinner was more like you paid for it?
Yeah.
I think that was another version of them trying to show that, like, these guys are high rollers. They've been invited to the captain's
Oh, I
cocktail
see.
party.
I see.
I don't think, like, Newton is getting the invite to
No,
that.
no,
So,
no. I don't
yeah,
think any of those people. That's yeah, yeah. I think those are those people that had the room that canceled and someone else got the room.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, the market ad guy. All right, so cut to we see Roberta waiting for Weems at dinner. We she's just sort of sitting there, and it cuts to Weems putting his costume back on. We see him approach a woman on deck. He lays there's another smooch. I wish I had a smooch counter in the corner. Ta-ding.
Bing.
And no resistance, by the way. Like they are not treating this man as though he's a bandit because they are more than happy to accept this man's smooches.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
bandit connotates some sort of,
like
you know,
stealing of something.
resistance almost, but
Yeah,
yeah.
they shared a kiss. They didn't.
Yeah, no one pulls away. Even people who
No,
were, aware of and in theory trying to stop.
even Gert and Muriel wanted more.
Oh, yeah, they did. The one thing I liked when they did because it was obviously the same footage when Billy Crystal's getting dressed again, but they
Yeah.
cut it. They cut it down in a way where it was just a quick little piece. It was like a
Hmm.
really nice piece of editing, which if you compare it to like the dog, your favorite thing, the dog, where they
Oh,
just use the same footage a bunch of times.
right.
And it's like you can't just like literally roll the exact same footage. You got to do something to switch it up a little. We're not expecting you to shoot different prep scenes, but like give me a
No,
little, put a little different spin on it.
something in it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like we pay a little attention.
yeah.
Like we're going to notice that.
No, we're gonna notice for
We're
sure.
going to
Yeah,
notice.
yeah.
They're like people in the 70s don't even watch TV. They
No,
just
they're
have
all
it on.
drugged out of their minds.
Yeah. A bunch of hippies.
High on milk.
Super high on milk. That's before skim milk too, I bet. I bet you it was just
That's whole.
you
That's
want
definitely whole.
2% or
It might
2%.
be
They didn't have
buttermilk.
2%. It was like it's all milk.
Oh, so how long has that milk been back there? Like, I know there are drinks that use milk, but like, how many are
Uh,
getting called for on a boat?
what what hot weather like a white Russian I don't consider to be a boat drink.
Yeah,
Again,
but
because of the dairy.
yeah,
But
it is unusual to have it. Yeah.
just odd. All right. Well, we see Evelyn, who the captain met before, having dinner with Steubing, and Steubing is sitting uncomfortably close. Like I'm just like, bro,
Yeah.
act like you've been in the end zone before. Act like Barry Sanders, sir. You know?
Seriously.
Jeez.
Seriously.
Offers to give her a tour of his cabin. Ugh. And
Now,
she
is that where
seems
he's like the most exciting part of the place that really makes the boat move or something like that? And she's like,
goes
the
back.
engine room? And he's like,
He goes, and just weird stuff happens in that cabin. He's pulling out shipwreck books, like wolf masks. There's no telling what happens in that.
as far as we know, there's as much action that's happened in that janitor's closet as there has in Steuben's cabin. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. We see Gert and Muriel at dinner, and they are still very much on guard
yeah.
from any all Lotharios on deck. They are ready to,
They're giving Steubing the business too up there too, because they're like, he's the captain,
yeah,
like and it's
they
like
know.
they know. No,
A
it's
couple of
so weird.
classy ladies, they know what's
And
going
they're
on.
and we said this about the two ladies with the purses a million years ago, but
Yeah,
like
love them.
they're
Yeah,
basically doing Stadler and Waldorf, but that's okay. Like that is exactly that should exist on this show 8 times a year. Like it's
I
just so
agree. They're
easy.
perfect.
It's
Just have
such an
different
easy
people.
exactly. You could have different comedians or even no names or whatever, but like it's perfect.
Um, yeah, Frank enters dining room. There's Suzanne hiding behind a menu at Frank's table. Jeez. Whoa.
There's like 4
Uh,
people like on the floor that she like tranquilized so she
well,
could get a seat at the
he's
table.
probably walking in that dining room like, as long as she's not at my table, I'm just really hungry. I'm tired of
Right.
smoking in my room all day. Let me just go get something to eat.
I have to eat through a tube because of my injuries. So
Yeah. Uh, uh, she says it hurts her ego that he doesn't remember her. Now we're in full on crazy town now. And I know there's more to it, but if I were him, I would get up and just walk out of there. Which she did. He wants none of it either and
yeah.
leaves the dining room and she's following him.
Yeah.
Jesus. All
Yeah,
right.
what do you do? So let's say either she was wrong and it's not the same guy, or he's like,
That's
nope,
funny.
my mind is made up.
Yeah.
This woman is bothered. Like, who do you go to? Like, Frank should be able to say, please leave me alone, and it stick. And if it doesn't, she should be keyhole.
Yeah.
So, but I mean,
That's why I
seriously, like
say at the
that's
first
basically
stop.
stalking. It kind of
Yeah.
is stalking. Like you're ruining my cruise.
That's why I think in that first stop, if there's nowhere to go or no one to talk to, I'd have been out.
But you shouldn't have to do
Oh,
that.
I agree. I agree.
Frank's
Because
got
who's
Frank
gonna
lost
kick
his
him off?
job, Mike. He can't afford to just be throwing away the $28 this cruise cost this week.
And kind of going with what you're saying, it's not like Steubing's gonna walk up and go, "Look, I think you should leave the ship," because no one respects him either. So it's like, who's gonna tell him to get off the boat?
Right. The guy from the SPCA in Mexico.
That's it. Unless Jimmy JJ Walker happens to be driving up and down the coast.
Or maybe go frickin' jump back into Julie's aunt's costume.
or or he can meet up with that person. Who was that guy that jeez. She was a stowaway in the old man's cabin, and she went to meet like Daryl in
Oh, Nancy
Tijuana.
Green?
Yeah, whoever the guy was she was
Oh,
meeting.
Randy. Yeah, she went to
Randy.
meet Randy. Yeah.
Yeah, just go hang out with Randy. Lenore, Mike Sr., Mike Jr. having dinner. Mike Sr. is taking Mike Jr. skeet shooting tomorrow morning. Couple questions. Number one, no age requirements on the skeet shooting.
Nope, apparently not.
Okay.
Just
Skeet
height
shooting
requirement.
happens.
Like
What's that?
height, right? Like height requirement. Like that's you gotta clear the deck.
Well, yeah, but you can't
It's
just give
like
some little kid a shotgun and go have at it with live ammo.
well,
Crazy.
luckily there
Yeah,
are
luckily Mike Jr.
height
Mike
time
Sr. was like, "Don't worry
frames.
about it. It'll never happen. Don't worry about it. No, we'll go. No, no.
No, no. Apparently we only do no, here's what I will say. So they basically say, sorry, Skeet's only available 10 to 11. And that doesn't work for Mike Sr. But like, is that actually them being like, oh yeah, it only is 10 to 11 because of like where we're at in the ocean, the wind, and all? Are they actually like, is that an actual reason? Or is it like that guy who only runs the Skeet thing has like a second job this week?
Or it's Lenore saying, "Look, Mike Sr., you can take him skeet shooting, but it's got to be between 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. That's it. That's my
She knows.
only restriction."
She knows.
Yeah,
She
she
knows
knows
he's
what's
got
up.
a ship to shore conference
Yeah,
call,
a
the
3 hour ship
hardest
to shore. Sure.
the hardest thing in the world to
Mhm.
schedule.
Very difficult, very tough. Oh, yeah. He has a conference. Mike Senior has a conference call from 10 to 11. Uh, and then I wrote like this happened so fast here. Like this all progressed so fast. Like, didn't he check the time when he booked? Like,
No.
wouldn't he know about his conference call?
Well, I think he knew about the conference call. I think the problem was, and to be fair to Mike Senior, I don't blame him. I would assume skeet shooting was more than just 1 hour a day.
Isn't this the first day they're on the boat?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Like I should, in my mind,
Yeah.
I should be able to go
Just
shoot
whenever.
skeet whenever,
He's
right?
probably got enough money he could make that happen. And be like,
Exactly.
no, 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 no.
Exactly. Here you
I'm
go, my
Mike
man.
Senior.
Here you go, my
Here,
friend.
take this.
Yeah,
Here's some
here's a
bread.
tenner. Here's a tenner.
Uh, Lenore isn't happy with this Mike Senior having a meeting. She says this is supposed to be a vacation. Mike Senior says he'll make it up to Mike Jr. The note I wrote, apparently it's very complicated to set up a ship to shore conference call, which isn't that just a phone call?
Yeah, but
Isn't
a
that just a
conference
1 hour phone
call.
call?
I mean,
A
if you
conference call means
remember,
more
so
than one person.
the little bit of ship to shore we've seen, you have to come down and tell Gopher you want to make a bunch of ship to shore calls, and then you go back upstairs.
Right.
So I guess if you have to do a conference call, what do you think conference calling looked like in 1978, just on land?
I think 2 phones, maybe? Is that conference call? 1 phone in each
Um,
ear?
I don't know. He should have
I
gotten
don't know.
Indeed.
You should have just done a Zoom.
He should have done a Zoom. Come on,
Just do
Mike.
a Zoom, dude. What's the problem?
Plus, I mean, let's calm down, dude. You're a car dealer. Like, I know you're
Yeah,
successful, but like, what are these conference calls at 10 to
yeah.
11?
Are you selling a car over the phone? No. No. Okay.
He did make it sound like it was literally the most impossible thing in the world, though.
Yeah. Well, don't forget in this scene that then he says that, and then we see Isaac dancing by the table. And this is why he is not a jive bartender. he's like he's just shucking and jiving. Woo. Oh, we're back to Frank. Oh god, I had a funny thought here. So we see Frank standing on deck. Immediately, I think, kissing bandit. But instead, it's
That would have
Suzanne.
been
That would have been hilarious.
phenomenal. Even if it was just like him in the background, right? When they're talking, even if he had just kind of done one of these and then
Yeah,
went, something like that. Like, oh, that would
that
have
would
been
have been
phenomenal.
that would have been
This is
wonderful.
the problem when you don't shoot these things probably with the people in the same room. Because
Or at the same time, right?
that would have been great.
Just him and yeah.
That would have made The Witness at least slightly watchable.
I'd have jumped out of my chair. I promise you. I'd have been super happy about that. Uh, Suzanne again. She apologizes, says that maybe she didn't meet him at Cody's, but you and I both know she's full of nonsense. She's just being a stalker. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
He says, well, I've been there a lot. He's trying to wipe that place out of his mind. He was there the night the guy was killed. And Suzanne playing stupid and psycho at the same time. It's amazing. Wearing two hats. Says a bystander tried to take his gun away and he shot him too. And Frank said, you want to see the scar? And I just wrote, damn, Frank. No, you didn't. You want to see the scar?
It's his wrist.
Yeah. Yeah, it's right here. It just nicked the pinky. See, look. See how this pinky's smaller than this one?
4 months. I couldn't type. I couldn't type Q for
I couldn't
4
type
months.
properly. I couldn't hit the enter button with my right pinky effectively.
This is a horrible thing for Frank, though, because he gets shot. He's in the
Yeah,
hospital for 4 months,
4
and he
months.
loses his job.
I don't
Like,
think they had health insurance in the 70s, right? Is that another thing they didn't have?
the only thing I could think was his job, like, not to get shot. Like, it's your one
Your
job.
only
Frank.
job is to not let people know that you are. Yeah, that's funny. That's a funny concept. Suzanne, she says, you must be glad they caught the guy that shot you. Again, she's just leading.
Leading, yeah.
And Frank pulled the Hogan's Heroes. I know nothing. Like he just checked right back out.
Did you?
Ugh,
I mean, like I said, this whole thing is not good. But
yeah.
at this point, I was like, they needed to have Frank push back a little bit,
Yes. Like
where he's
leave me
just like,
alone.
"What do you seem to know so much about this?" Or
He
what's
just
your
was ready to.
investment in
He was
this?
just
Or
fielding questions.
and then she lies, right? Which is
Yeah.
fine, but
Yeah.
you needed to have like he never like she clearly broke him down already because he's already saying all this stuff, but like he should have been like, "So I don't get it. Why are you so invested?" And
Well,
then
shit.
she's like, "I'm a curious citizen," or like something like that.
But you bring up a good point because the only time he did challenge her at the end when he was like, you know, that guy or whatever, he was a junkie, whatever. And then she was like, Dad, he wasn't a loser. I'm
Oh,
saying this like,
I got that whole thing listed because
oh, fantastic.
he had like 9 adjectives for that guy.
But that's the only time,
Mhm.
or maybe he knew that he figured it out. Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, she wasn't that subtle. I guess it's also possible.
Yeah, she's the worst actress I've ever seen. I've got more on that coming up, by the way. Something to look forward to here.
I'm not sure she's the worst actress in this show this week, but
This episode?
it's all bad. It's a
Okay.
three-way race.
It's
It's a three-way race.
fair enough. Uh, Doc is with a female passenger on the railing, and Gopher runs up telling Doc that a man has passed out by the blackjack table. Doc leaves. Boom, here comes the bandit.
Yep.
Woo! Plants a
Eastbound
smooch.
down.
Dude, and this girl's smitten.
Oh yeah, and she's a
They're not
cocktail
putting up a
waitress.
fight, and
Yeah.
he's got magic. He's got magic lips, apparently.
And this isn't even one where you can say like Doc got the jar lid loose, right? Like because he's just been the bandit's been taking care of business. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It
I
doesn't
like how
matter.
Doc was like kind of put out that he had to go do work.
Like, damn it.
Yeah,
It's kind of funny.
he's gonna be so mad. He's gonna be so mad when that
Oh, he's
guy
pissed.
isn't dead. He's just putting him on a launch.
He's just well, because remember, he was the one with the smooching skills before. Remember, he was like in the twins episode, the one that didn't want to, and he was smooching her, and she just, oh, I
Yeah.
have no control. Same
No,
thing.
it's
Documented
been pretty light for Doc this season. He
this
hooked
whole,
up
yeah, this,
in the Castaway, but other than that, I don't know that he has.
well, remember in the Castaway, he told Bambi Benton off too. Remember?
Took a while to get there.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
just like,
yeah.
look with your perfect nose. It pains me to tell you this, but
Barbie Benton came up in conversation this weekend with my in-laws.
what was the context?
There was some article or some about her, or it was one of those like things popped up on a news feed and it mentioned the Love Boat, and I said, "Oh yeah, well." So there you go.
Nice. Nice. Barbie Benton, 2-time. Was she a stubby?
I'm gonna
nominated?
say no. No, that
No.
Best Actress category was loaded last year.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Diane
She was
Carroll was in it,
good,
for
but
Christ's sake.
it was
Like,
probably easier to get into the categories where you sucked. So
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. We see
I am
Stu.
gonna write down the nominees though, because now that we're actually getting into repeat customers here, we need to have this written
That's a
down.
good,
So
that's a good point.
yeah.
Steubing's on deck with Evelyn, and he is boring her with astrology. It's
Already.
boring.
First night, right?
She
He's already shot his wad.
he said, "Can I, to come to my cabin?" I think she said yes. What are you doing out here? What are you looking at astrology? Ugh,
Yeah.
imagine how
Yeah,
boring. Oh, this is the look at this star. Ugh,
but you are right. The last scene in the dining room, she seemed interested. From then on, not interested.
no,
And
no.
if you want to say the bandit did it, that's fine, but then she needed to be interested until the bandit. So
To
that's
make
the
that
only miss
turn even
there.
more.
Yeah, that's the only miss
Yeah,
there. So
but she was clearly just kind of done with him.
I mean,
I agree.
yeah. I mean, she's a future star of tomorrow, Mike. She doesn't have time for this
No,
nonsense.
no. She's, maybe a member of the Canadian Walk of Fame. We don't
I
know.
mean,
Maybe.
plus the Canadian solar system is completely different. There's an extra 10 yards.
You have the Big Dipper. We have the Big Dipper with poutine. You have the look. It's the big
It's got an
story in the
OU.
sky. Uh, oh Canada. Weems taps Evelyn on the shoulder while Steubing's just blah 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 blah.
So great.
Gives her a smooch. She looks smitten as hell. Like she just
There
whoa.
is just a silent movie Charlie Chaplin charm to this whole thing.
I agree.
It just this could have been in black and white over a player piano.
Well, it's just
Like
like
honestly,
misdirection.
yeah.
All these
But at the end, he's swinging on ropes. Like I mean, it's
pretty cool. It was pretty
yeah,
cool. It was
yeah,
a very Robin Hood sort of.
yeah,
Well, I
yeah.
think so. Weems kissed Evelyn before Steubing kissed Evelyn. I'm assuming.
I don't think
I mean,
Steubing
we
ever
didn't
kissed
see it.
Evelyn. Yeah,
She wasn't giving the vibes that she ever kissed him because she was
no,
rolling her eyes like, "All right, dude."
no. Whatever happened in between dinner and this,
He happened. Meryl Steubing happened. She just had enough. She just wanted to find her room. She was trying to be polite, and she found her room, and she was
looking
getting.
for Gopher.
Ugh. We see a big commercial break here. Fast forward to Mike Sr. and Lenore are arguing. Mike Sr. offers to take him fishing the day after tomorrow, and Cabo saying Lucas to charter a boat and fish all day long. I'm sure that's going to happen without any sort of interruption.
No
Mike
problem.
Sr. seems like a very, very, he's got lots of
Right.
time on his hands.
Yes. A car dealer, a used car dealer is definitely somebody you can trust. Have you ever argued with someone where you're both looking into the mirror? Because they're
Never.
all looking into the mirror. That seems unnecessary.
It's weird. It's weird. I
Right?
wonder if does that like give your argument more strength? Does it
I don't know.
reflect it? I don't know how that
Not for
next time
me. I
I,
don't. Yeah, next time I'm gonna break out a mirror if I'm
I'm going to have
arguing. I'm
a,
just kidding.
I'm going to have a mild argument with Mrs. Taylor, and I'm going to pull out like a handheld
Or
and
just be
just
like,
slowly raise it up as I'm
hold
making
on.
my point.
Hold on a second. Come into this room.
Well, come here, check
Let's
this out.
finish this.
Maybe it's impossible to disagree in front of a mirror. Who knew? If we could just get world leaders to stand in front of mirrors.
Like the only argument should be like that outfit looks ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
that should be so.
Yeah. Are you really wearing that?
Right, but it's not you ruin skeet shooting tomorrow.
No. No. No, that's an odd one. We see Gopher enters Isaac's cabin to grab him for breakfast. Mike Jr. shows up, tells him to go in fishing in Cabo. Isaac gives him a really disgusting looking hat. There's no way I would put that thing on my head. That thing looked gross. And then I'm thinking maybe that's why the Roxy Blue thing didn't work out. Maybe he had this stinky hat the whole time. My mind went crazy.
Well, it turns out that it's Isaac's dad's hat
Right.
that he gave him. which Gopher like totally almost blows up. Like Gopher dude's a kid. Like, Isaac knows. It's not like Isaac's like, oh wait, I forgot. This is my
I forgot where I
faceless
got this
memento.
stinky hat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Flashback to Gert and Muriel. And they're talking on deck. They're talking about the masked man. And we see Weems reading the Scarlet Pimpernel.
Very nice.
Pimpernel, small plant of the primrose family with creeping stems and a flat 5-petaled flower. I didn't know what a pimpernel was.
I gotcha.
Now I know.
I thought there was going to be some sort of tie-in.
Nothing. Just
But no,
wanted to get just
fun
clarification.
botany facts for
Yeah.
you.
Mm-hmm. He did have a red flower on his tuxedo, but I wasn't going to rewind it and go, I only see 4 petals. I don't see 5 petals.
Wait,
I didn't want to
is
do
this
that.
where we're going with the show now?
Uh,
It's getting really into the flower
botany.
arrangements.
Botany and creeping stems.
The shows are 5 hours now. It's all flower stuff.
You're talking about just the most inane stuff now. Just
It's not that tight online stuff they used to talk about.
it's just it's just so it's just meta. We're we've gone deeper. Roberta walks up and asks him if he's going to go into port that day. He yawns and says he has work to do, which you said earlier, the interesting job of map writer.
So was the word cartographer not like a thing back then?
I thought the same thing. Like, why didn't you just? That's what that is. So
Maybe it
why?
just wasn't common parlance back then.
Maybe he doesn't.
The
Maybe
Club
he's an
Boat crowd isn't
apprentice.
exactly highbrow, so
And maybe he didn't want to like represent himself with credentials that he hasn't earned yet. Maybe he's still an apprentice. You know what I
gotcha,
mean? You never know. He's in
gotcha.
trade school. How old do
Well,
you
I mean,
think
to
Billy
be
Crystal?
fair, he's spending half the time at work probably just smooching people
Just
in the map room.
he doesn't get any sleep.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
Trying
got
to
a
I'm trying to draw this peninsula, and this masked man
no,
swung in.
and then he smooched me, and then I forgot what a peninsula was.
Right. I can't spell archipelago when my hands are trembling with passion.
You try spelling the Strait of Gibraltar when you're all jazzed up from his smooches. We see. She invites him to dinner, and he's sort of non-committal, but she's insisting that he joins her. So
Yeah. That's gonna
we
happen.
we see Frank and Suzanne on deck.
No.
One of my least favorite expressions. It really like makes me like uncomfortable. Is the phrase "penny for your thoughts"? I just want to be like, shut up. Here's a penny. No, it's just such a dumb. Wait, what do you can't just say, hey, what's on your mind? Because what's on his mind, Suzanne, you psycho. Killer's trial is today. Suzanne, why aren't you there? Again, just
Yeah.
he says, I'm scared. The guy has powerful friends. Basically, I don't want to die if I testify. Okay.
Fair.
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 And the thing is too, it's like if you're Suzanne at this point, like you're already pretty blatant. You might as well just come out and ask, right? I mean, was she going to bed him to get him to do it? Like was that her plan? And that's why she's
I
trying to
mean,
like not be so direct?
remember how specific she was. She's like, well, you can call and ask for a blah, blah, blah,
Oh
blah,
yeah, she
blah.
had all sorts of tips. Yeah. Matter of fact, I have a phone. Weird thing, I have a phone right here.
Here it
With a New
is.
York
It's a cell
exchange.
phone. You don't even
Yeah.
need a.
This guy left his ship to shore
Yeah.
conference line open.
Turns out
We can get the whole DA
we
on.
got it. We freed up an hour of talk time.
Oh, the
Yeah.
irony of Robert Reed in the last episode shooting Skeet, and this episode being shot.
Well, didn't he kill the other guy?
No, that's who's going on trial.
Okay.
Do you think Robert Reed killed her
Why am
brother?
I just got confused for a second. I don't know what happened. Okay.
That would have been way more interesting.
He got wounded as well.
He was
Okay.
trying to stop the shooter, right?
Gotcha. Okay. Okay.
That would have
That's where
been way more interesting.
well, then it would explain his, the look on his face like he was at Normandy. It would have made a lot more sense.
Oh, that would have been
I
great.
just rewrote it in my head, I think. Wow.
I mean, that would have been 10 times better than this nonsense
That's
was.
what I thought. I couldn't help it.
Yeah.
They should really bring me on as the as a script and continuity person.
retro
Uh,
retro continuity.
that's funny. Sorry. I had to go back up and see. Okay. Yeah, he doesn't want to die. All right, we're back in the dining room. Steubing again, sitting uncomfortably close to Evelyn. Again.
Yeah.
Snaps his fingers, and two violinists walk up and begin playing. And I just wrote, yuck. Like
Yeah.
this guy. And it's clear she wants nothing to do with this. Like
Yeah.
she's not.
Like he has access to all the powers of the ship, right? He is trying everything and none of it's working. And it's so desperate. It's just
Why did
like
she? Was it a time when like Evelyn, you know what I mean? Why didn't Evelyn just not show up?
because it's him. Like he's
It's the
going to be
captain.
around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be kind of screwed.
Maybe you're afraid that you're going to get thrown off the boat or something. I don't know.
Something keelhauled. Who knows?
I mean, once again, though,
Hmm.
it's what we always talk about with all these crew people. It's like you're working. I'm here on vacation.
Right.
You're insinuating yourself into my vacation. And at some level, I can't get away from you because who am I going to complain to? The captain?
Well, it's
You
gotta be
know,
rough too,
so
especially if you've purchased this. This isn't a like a freebie like the Red
right.
Skeleton one. This is a paid voyage.
Red buttons. That would have been way different if it was red
Red
skeletons.
Skeleton.
Oh,
There's
God.
too many. There's too many people. There's cavemen and scarecrows. All sorts of stuff going on. Roberta and Weems are finished with dinner. Waiter comes up. Roberta orders 2 flaming baked Alaskas for 2. And I wrote, so is that 4? Um,
How about the waiter
waiters,
getting a speaking role, though?
yeah, he's getting his
Yeah.
card.
Tag
Get
card.
his
Tag card.
benefits.
Congratulations.
Waiter says it'll take 20 minutes to make those, which I'll wait 30 minutes for baked Alaska. I am a huge. Are you a fan of baked Alaska?
I don't know that I've ever had it.
Dude,
Probably, I'm not the kind of person who's going to wait around 20 minutes or something.
it is a classy. I've had it at Butcher and Singer once when we were there for that Mega Man's dinner where we all got sick because we ate so much food.
Oh,
So it's basically like a cake. Um, there's ice cream inside, and there's meringue that coats the whole thing.
I mean, I'm sure it's good.
It's so good. So a lot of places do a
You really
blowtorch.
got that after all that food we ate?
Yeah. I got
Oh,
so
good
sick.
lord.
I ate 2 orders of that cream spinach. I
You
lost my
you were
mind.
you you got shot worse than Frank. You should have
It
been
was
out for
bad.
4 months, like,
It was bad. I think at one point I was like, "Just leave me here. I can't walk. Just leave me here."
leave me behind.
Ugh. I think it was before Uber too.
Oh god.
It was terrible. I had to pour that in some dirty taxi to get home, and go home and throw up. Are you sick? Do you have a bug? No, it's too much
No,
cream spinach, and
no.
I ordered baked Alaska. Whew.
You and Roberta Potter
Hey, Roberta's
love
got
baked
good
Lays.
taste in desserts. That's
Yeah.
classic dessert. And Weems is
It
out of there.
sounds
20, huh?
like based on that story, it sounds
I can't eat. Just give me one more. I say classy because I was wearing a collared shirt. I think we all
right,
were when
yeah,
we were eating it.
right, yeah.
Weems is out of there. He's not waiting 20 minutes. You're crazy. He's got smooches to lay. I got nothing.
There's no time.
Like,
Plus, probably like you said, it's heavy. You can't be
you
running
can't
around
be
abandoning one
heavy,
of
heavy
baked Lays
dairy,
stomach. No.
heavy dairy and banditing. Mm-mm.
No, sorry.
And they'll know it him. You're like, oh, well, I don't know who it was, but his breath was like baked Alaska. And they're like, oh, let's put 2 and 2 together. It's Roberta.
It's Mike Taylor.
Yeah, just, oh. The bandit moved very slowly and just was holding his stomach.
And every time he kissed a woman, he went, "Ew."
Ew. Ugh.
I don't have to talk to you, do I?
One day you'll have your own. um, Oof. So Weems is out. Steubing is boring Evelyn on deck again. He's like, "Oh, let's dance," and she's like, "Well, there's no
Yeah,
music."
whoa.
So he goes, "Let me leave to go ask the band to play something soft so they can dance to it."
Right.
Okay,
A, go inside.
yeah,
B, she said she was cold. Take your
yeah.
jacket off, Meryl,
He go-
you idiot.
She goes, "I'm cold." He goes, "Okay, I'll be right back." Not with a jacket,
I'm cold, let's dance. No, that's not how it works. Like
or unless he wanted her to warm herself up by the motion of dancing.
every romance in the history of jackets.
It's like sharing PJs.
It's
We
like,
know
I
what that
mean, come
means.
on.
Yeah,
Just give her your jacket, dude. You at least get somewhere. Then
yeah,
guess what? When you walk her back, she's got your jacket. Idiot.
yeah.
Like, come on. That was the most indication that he just has no game.
He's just nothing.
No.
Um, we see Weems. Weems is lurking. Evelyn sees Weems too, but this time Evelyn grabs him and starts smooching him.
Yep.
Gert and Muriel are witness to this. Uh-oh. You know how they hated this whole Lothario thing,
Yep. Not now.
but they decide they both pucker up and close their eyes, and their fingers are crossed that they'll get a smooch from the bandit, and they do.
So great.
Weems
Just so
smooches them
great.
both.
Yep.
Steubing comes back and sees him, and Weems flees like a superhero. He goes down Evelyn is smitten and pretty much tells Steubing to go to bug off.
So Stuving leans over the thing and he goes, "Who is that masked man?" And the two ladies are like, "What? What masked man? What?" So, high comedy.
Oh, they're
Like
great.
this is. I know you don't want Stubing to be Lassard, and I get it, but like Gavin McLeod is a good comedic actor,
I agree.
and
I agree.
if he's going to be the foil to set people up like that was a
That's okay.
perfectly executed scene. I really liked that.
I agree. I agree. I thought it was great. And you knew it was going to happen,
Oh,
but it was
absolutely.
okay. It was
Yeah.
done so well.
Yeah.
Time was great. Isaac, or should I say Ike, and Mark Mike Jr. are on deck. Mike Sr. has to fly home and can't take Mike Jr. fishing. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
Did they ever establish where home was?
No, no, I don't think
I mean, you
so.
assume California, but we don't
Los
know that.
Angeles is right down the road.
Yeah. So
Who knows? Uh, Lenore and Mike Sr. arrive on deck. Mike Sr. says he has to leave in order to set up a new dealership. Okay. Isaac gets raw with Mike Sr. Says you're doing it for yourself and not Mike Jr. I wrote, "Hey Isaac, you should just leave this alone considering you just met their son 2 days ago. Like just
and
stop."
you did not get invited to the wedding.
No. Lenore starts to pile on, but here comes Mike Jr. and good for you. Good for you, Mike Jr. Calls Isaac a jive bartender and hands him back the smelliest hat I've ever seen. Good for him, Mike Jr. Everyone piling on his dad. You know, that's not you outsiders can't do that, you know?
Now, with this,
Hmm.
Mike Sr., and this is Billy Davis,
Oh, yeah.
has the maybe the worst line delivery, at least until Marilyn McCoo in like 10 minutes. But he's like, calm down. It's been an emotional morning for everyone. First of all, it's been like 20 seconds of emotion. Second of all, Mike, you don't get to say that, dude. You're the one who's causing all these problems.
Well, he tells her to go back to bed. You're having an emotional morning. Go back to bed and I'll call you later. That's how we're gonna put a bow on this.
Just the worst. It was just so it cracked me
I'll
up.
say she didn't say anything when he said it though. It was
It
clear that
cracked,
Mike Sr. was running this ship.
it cracked me up
Like,
the first time. It cracked me up the second time. It was
oh,
just so funny.
it's
Hey
funny.
everyone, we've had an emotional morning.
Hey everybody, listen. Listen up, gang.
hey, let's wrap.
Oh, it's funny. It was funny. A smiling Frank knocks on Suzanne's door. He tells her that he's falling in love with her. My note, of course he is. It's been 2, maybe 3 days.
Oh, well, but to be
How
fair, it's
and she's
accelerated because she's been in his face the entire time.
yeah, it's true. She
So
probably drugged him. That's probably what it is.
he lost a
Uh,
lot of he lost a lot of blood when he got shot too.
uh,
So
he's Suzanne says that she has one wish. Boy, I wonder what this wish is gonna be. And I immediately thought of that Steve Martin. I wish for world
oh
peace. And blah,
yeah.
blah. She brings up the trial again and asks him if he can call the DA and ask for a postponement. And he's like, "What? What?" He says, "No." He says he's in the middle because some pusher killed a junkie at a bar, a loser, a bum, uh, a never been,
Here's all the words he says.
yeah,
Junkie, a loser, a bum, a guy who was throwing his life away anyway. He was a punk and nothing but.
there it is.
Whoops.
Oopsie. Suzanne says that loser was my brother. And she
Dun, dun,
begins the
dun.
worst fake crying I've ever seen in the history of this show. Frank's figuring it out. Uh-huh. Leaves the cabin while Suzanne continues her waterless cry. Nothing but dry eyes with those crying nerve. Uh, enter Isaac, checking a clipboard, grabs a phone, calls Lenore, and asks how is Mike Jr. doing. Tells her that he'll be right up. And he runs up the stairs,
Yeah.
skipping like 3 stairs. I mean, that's a risky.
Isaac really is the captain of this boat. Like,
I
he's
feel
just
like,
taking care of things.
yeah,
Like, the kid's locked in the bathroom, I'm sure he'll be fine, but, like, I don't know, I thought maybe he had a gun. Like, it's like,
right.
"We're
Like,
gonna
I don't
skeet shoot.
know.
We're gonna skeet shoot."
He's threatening Gopher with a knife, like something. Give me something for him to skip up those stairs like that. Very
Yeah.
fleet of foot, Mister Washington. He arrives at the cabin. Mike's locked himself in the bathroom, as he said. Here comes Mike Jr. He's back. Hey, baby, I'm back. Who wants to go fishing? Like, what?
Where did he go?
Where
Where
did
did
he
he
go?
go for the whole morning? Was it even a morning? Like,
Look,
did Todd Bridges go upstairs and immediately lock himself in the bathroom?
look. It's been an emotional morning for all of us. Why don't you go back to sleep, and I'll see you later.
Poor, poor Marilyn McCoo went to sleep, woke up, her child's locked in the bathroom.
Locked in a bathroom, like what? And
By the
Isaac's
way,
there.
while Todd Bridges is locked in the bathroom before Billy Davis shows back up,
Yeah,
Marilyn McCoo does her version of awful acting where it's just like, I gotta tell you, we have more money and success than we've ever had, and I've never been more frightened. It was really like that
she's
was
a
the one that
reader,
really hit
man.
me where it was like, oh no, she can't act either.
She can't act.
No.
Mike Jr. apologizes for calling Isaac a jive bartender. Mike Sr. really kind of wraps it up by saying, I'm sorry too. Looks like I'm the one who's been doing the jiving around here. And good for you, Mike Sr., for really wrapping it up.
I'm gonna put a button on this fan.
Oof. And Isaac gives Mike Jr. the stinky hat back that he had inside his shirt. Good riddance. R.I.P. Stinky hat. Oof.
So stupid.
Just, ugh. He just found that. When his dad's hat. Holy crap. I got to get rid of this stinky hat.
It's Milton Berle's hat. They
That's the
fished
only
it out.
thing that recovered. Yeah, that's right. That's funny. Look at it. It's all connected. It's
Yep,
all
it's all
connected.
related.
We see Gert and Muriel are talking to Evelyn about their experience with a kissing bandit. Stubing walks by. He is pissed. He is personally embarrassed about this kissing bandit. This kissing bandit has made him a cuckold.
The balls of Stubing to walk up to people that work for him and say they're not working is it made me mad for a second before they quickly like shot him down. But I was just like,
Like, I learned it from
You
watching you,
little
Meryl.
you little bitch.
You
Like, just because
jerk.
you got no game, don't be yelling at your crew for having a good time.
It's
Everybody else is
terrible,
having a
man.
good time with the boat.
Everybody's drinking. Everyone's having a great
Exactly.
time.
Yeah, Todd Bridges is all hopped up on milk.
So much milk. I tell you what, that guy's got the strongest bones in Hollywood. Loves the
That's why
milk.
he's always in these celebrity fights.
That's it. Wrestling, boxing, all of them. So Stubing's just pissed. He wants to trap the bandit by using Julie as bait. Have we not learned anything from Love Boat Project episode 29? And I don't want to be crass, but the pimping of Julie has no bounds.
It
Like it's
did feel
really,
like it did feel too soon. Like, it ended up not being as bad, but it
I
was just
agree.
that thing where it was like, "Man, I coulda used an episode where Julie wasn't, put in a spot." So,
It's like the next week.
yeah,
They're like,
yeah,
I thought you told me you weren't going to treat me this way again. Julie, you're the only female cast member
that's right.
and crew member, apparently. All right.
Yeah.
Frank is in his cabin smoking, where he should have been the whole time smoking. Suzanne knocks on his door, asks if they can talk. Frank says there's nothing to talk about. Good for you, Frank. She tells Frank about her brother and that he wasn't a junkie or a loser. More fake tears are happening at this point. There's
Oh,
nothing.
this is the Emmy speech. She's going for it.
Oh, she's laying it all out there.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
lay it out there, Tennille. She wanted that ergot. What is it?
EGOT.
Sturgot?
EGOT. Oh, right.
Yes. She
The
wanted the
stir god is
Stugot.
if she gets the stubby, guess what?
That's right.
She's
This
you're not
ain't
getting the
happening.
stubby.
You're
You're
not gonna
not
get the
getting the
first step of
stubby,
that
babe.
decathlon. Yeah.
So,
Zero chance,
nope.
Tennille. Better luck in season 4. Uh, F Frank says he already called the DA. He realized he couldn't live with himself if that guy went free, and then asked Suzanne to leave him alone and to leave.
Would have been great if he was like, "And while I was on the phone with the DA, I got a restraining order against you, you
No kidding.
psychopath." Like,
No, don't come a step closer.
that's right.
I got
You
5
are in the
years leave.
zone.
Uh,
This was too that whole thing, and this is always your bit, but, like,
yeah,
that was all too heavy for a Love Boat, right?
yeah, I thought so. I
Vietnam
thought so.
vet who kicks drugs and gets killed by the mafia. Like, I mean, like, that's a little much, right?
Uh, it's a lot of much. That's a
Yeah,
lot of much, and that's why Fred Grandy and Bernie Capel,
didn't write that one.
they're not writing that one. They're keeping it nice and light.
And the other thing is too, it's a weird thing that they do because the James Bond Jr., Cindy
Mhm.
Duncan, Jim Stafford one, which was pretty heavy.
Yeah.
You shouldn't cast these musicians. I don't think it would have been any better if there was
No.
a better actress. I really don't. It was boring. But like you're given that's a tough one to grab. Like
Well,
at least
you're
Marilyn
talking
McCoo and Billy
range
Davis,
and
that was relatively light. But this is
right.
like
It's a
this
lot.
is just a dull, boring storyline that's kind of heavy.
But you can't give it to Tennille.
No. No.
Come on.
Who turned down the show that Tennille got it?
Yeah, what fancy schmancy actress was this? Meryl Streep said no? Is that what this is? I mean, I don't know what. We see Julie. Again, she still doesn't want to be bait.
No.
Steubing saying, "You'll be safe, don't worry." Yeah. All Steubing wants is revenge at this point because he is personally injured by this person's actions. His ego is. They go on deck, and the whole deck is popping with ladies, hoping
Hilarious.
for a smooch. I thought that was super funny.
Hilarious, especially because they shot it, like, real fast. Like, they didn't, like
It
it
was
was
good.
literally, like, turn around right into it. Yeah, it was
It
great.
was good. Not to be outdone by Doc asking all of them to come back to his cabin for a cocktail.
Like, he, like, roofed that entire that
Oh, they're all
deck,
just
right? Yeah,
stacks of
yeah.
stacked naked passengers in his office. Mm,
Pajama tops everywhere.
just everywhere. Hello, ladies. Uh, he has 100 pairs of the same pajamas just in case. This is my bucket
It's
list.
like the Pac-Man cartoon. Like he opens his closet. It's just
Like, and you smell a rag, and you smell a rag, and you smell a rag. Uh, Julie's standing on the second deck overlooking the pool. We see Weems. Weems sees Julie, puts on some chapstick, and he heads for her. He lays a smooch on Julie, which again, she does not even.
oh, Julie. That's Julie's best smooch in a while.
Yeah, she's like,
I
whoa,
mean,
this
I
is
guess
not a Spencer
technically
for
since
hire smooch. This is,
well, I was gonna say probably since Frankie Avalon, but we all know he was awful. So this might be her best smooch since Jim Wright.
I think so. She's all about it. She's like, go ahead.
Yeah.
Uh, Steubing yells at the bandit to stop, and we see Isaac and Gopher underneath some burlap sack.
Tarp. Yeah.
Apparently, that's on the side of a. I don't know.
Potato sacks.
Like, why is that there? It seems more like a behind the scenes sort of thing.
Whoops.
Whoops. We see Weems grab a rope. I really hope Billy Crystal actually did this. I don't
Yeah,
even
I
want to.
don't think he
That would be
did.
great.
That'd be pretty cool if he did.
Swings over the pool and escapes. Good for
We
him.
like how about who's the stunt coordinator on this
Great.
season? Because last
Errol
week we had, I
Flynn.
mean, we made fun of it, but last week that fight was, there's a lot going on there.
We're
And
getting
then
some
this week,
physicality, man.
yeah, we got like some real action scenes going on
I
now.
like it. I like
Yeah,
it.
danger.
I love it. I love it. We see Doc and Suzanne on deck. More fake crying from Suzanne. She's telling Doc what she did to Frank and that she says she loves him.
Yeah,
Based on
I don't
what?
know. I don't know. I
He's
mean,
already said, I'm falling in love with you.
yeah,
She's like, I'm falling in love with you.
yeah.
Number one, how the hell could he fall in love with her?
But even if he did, you knew the whole time what you were
Right.
doing, so it's all
So how
built
can you
on
be?
lies.
It's more setup. It's more BS. She's just selling it. She's like, no, no, no. Don't tell him that I'm telling you this. I'm in love with him, but don't tell him. But especially after she already got what she wanted. Well,
Right,
no, she didn't because he still hasn't testified yet.
but he's going to.
That's what she's pulling the whole I'm in love because she's going to see this
Uh,
thing through.
gotcha.
I mean,
Doing the Walter Perry. I'm gonna turn myself in as soon as we get
apparently.
talk. Yeah.
Enter Frank. Here's where things get a little odd.
Here?
Well, odder, if that's a thing. Uh, Basically, he tells her to shut up. And here's the weird part. He smooches her passionately on the cheek and on the chin. No lip to lip smooching. I'm not. Not. Just thought it was a little odd.
I know where you're going,
Yeah, I
but
don't want to.
is it possible that that's Captain Dragon being a little possessive? Maybe there were rules.
Maybe,
Maybe.
maybe we'll see what
Maybe
happens at the end of the cruise
maybe
when they have another opportunity to smooch.
maybe Robert Reed is like, "Oh god, who even cares? No one's
Ew.
sticking with this." People are gonna be tuning in for the exciting conclusion of American Girls where the other girl was
They're
apparently
tuning it off, like,
perished in a flight.
or the Gilligan or the PTSD episode of Gilligan's Island, the escape.
Yeah, I kinda wanna watch that now to
I
see
do
what
too.
happened.
I've never seen it. I saw the Harlem Globetrotter one where the Harlem Globetrotters came to the island and they played a
I feel like
basketball
I have
tournament against robots.
smashed them both into one,
Yeah,
so
I don't remember. I would love to see the rescue. I've never,
yeah.
just to see
Yeah.
how they did it.
We need to have, like, if we ever do a Patreon, we need to go
That's the
back and do
perfect
stuff
one.
like
The
that. Yeah,
two-part
we have to
Gilligan's
go back
Island
and
movie.
do those, yeah.
That's perfect. And I'm sure that's not the first like piece of film that we're going to come across in the course of this project that wouldn't be a bad like,
Oh, there's a bunch I wanna
hey,
do. I wanna do that Andy Griffith one where they dumped all the nuclear
hey,
waste on his lawn. I wanna do the Frank Sinatra one where
hey,
he kills the mafia, like, so
Saturday night movie, Patreon, you know? Hey,
yeah, that's what we need. More
that's what we need.
more
More,
content.
yeah,
That's
more
what we need.
content. Yeah,
That's
yeah. Yeah. Once you guys can talk. Anyway, yeah. So, um, we see Roberta standing on the rail alone. Weems is approaching, full bandit getup, spins her to give her a smooch, but she sees that it's Roberta and runs away. And I,
Oof.
a real confidence boost for Roberta,
Yeah. Yeah, that's gonna be worse than getting left out of the yearbook.
right? Like Gert and Muriel
Oof.
got smooches and Roberta didn't. Hmm,
Yeah,
maybe he just has a type. We see
not
Weems
you.
and his, yeah, not her, anyone but nobody named Roberta. We see Weems returning to his cabin. He's taken off his bandit costume, interrupted by a knocking Roberta. Tell her that he tells her that that he tells her that he's working, and he throws on a bathrobe because that'll cover from head to toe a white tuxedo. Just saying. Roberta enters the cabin, tells Weems that the bandit took one look at her and ran away. They smooch, and Roberta lets him know that she knows his secret.
I didn't
What?
need I didn't need an explanation.
I didn't either,
Like, I
but
honestly didn't, but it was fine. I thought that made
it was
sense.
all
Like,
right.
he obviously is a weirdo.
We got to wrap it
Um,
up too. You can't like. What are you gonna
right. But, like, I didn't need, um,
like an explanation of
justification.
how
I
she? Yeah,
You know
it's
what?
fine.
Sometimes the storyline doesn't have to make sense if it's just entertaining.
I agree. I
At
agree.
the end of the day, that was all entertaining.
Well,
So,
and they were running out of time. I think there were like 6 minutes left at this
well,
point.
we
So
had to get another 7 or 8 scenes with Tennille.
Tennille. Oh yeah, there's an interesting thing.
But I think you're right, they ran out of time because, like, Act 5,
It's
when's the last
quick.
time we had 3 like, all the storylines run into Act 5?
Yeah,
Like, usually they've wrapped a couple up, like, so,
maybe
yeah.
that's a good. That's a sign of a good episode. Maybe.
No, it's not.
What if you have three at the end that
Anything that
all need to?
happened in this episode except for one thing is not a good sign of a good episode.
That's a good point too. I don't know what I was thinking. Uh, we see Mike Sr. He thanks Isaac for giving him the hardcore truth. Thank you. Frank and Suzanne, interestingly, are blocking everybody from leaving the ship. No one can leave. And then in another sign that Frank loves Suzanne, he gives her another passionate kiss on the cheek. I love you too, cheek kiss. It was egregious. I was just like, whoa,
Oh, those kids are gonna make it.
those kids, they love each other. Weems Roberta leave together. Stubing finds the bandit's mask. Gopher holds it up against his face, and don't do that around Evelyn, Gert, and Muriel. And they start chasing him. What an awesome way to end it.
I actually really
What it,
like that
I
ending.
love the ending.
I really like that ending.
Was it a freeze frame too?
No, what they've done
It
the
could have
last
been
few
great.
weeks is hit us with credits, kind of over moving action at the end. Um, but no, I really that was a good way to end. That was a good way to end, and
Yeah,
really,
it moved too. Like it
yeah,
moved, but
it
there was a
did,
lot going
it
on.
did. So, totals and a recap. So, the first time I watched it, I said to myself,
Yeah,
"This feels like what I think I thought a Love Boat episode was before we started doing this."
100%. 100. I can see that.
Silly,
Yeah.
people like music people, like,
Hmm.
people playing against
A
all
little
that kind of
mystery, a little.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it was just, a lot of stuff going on.
Hmm.
Um, the second watch, I think I realized that it's really one storyline. Um, Isaac's doing some heavy lifting in that other storyline, but generally this is all about the Kissing Bandit
Yeah,
and everything in the Kissing Bandit was good, and everything else was not the Kissing Bandit. So
I totally agree. The Mike and Ike was not a very. There's not a
no,
lot of meat on that bone as far as
no,
stories go.
no, less than I really thought there was going to be.
I didn't know where it was going to go, but I thought it was
No,
going to do more than
so
it
I
did.
thought it would do more, yeah, and wrapped up so quickly. I mean, he basically walked to the parking lot and came back, like,
He was
not a
like,
lot of
"I can't go. I'm back. I
what?
can go. Do you still
Right,
want to go?" Like,
wanna go
oh,
fishing?
all right.
So currently our best episode is episode 2. which is James Coco and Jimmy Bayo, despite Norman Fell's efforts or lack
That's right.
thereof.
He tried.
Worst episode is episode 4 last week, Creep Week. I don't think this replaces either.
No, I think it's a solid swing,
Yeah.
but I don't think it's better than two.
No, and I think it's a good indication that no matter how good one storyline is, you're not gonna be able to do the whole show
no,
if
no,
it's only one.
can't do it.
But I'll tell you this: there's gonna be a pile of stubby nominations from that storyline.
This is a lot.
A
There's a lot of
lot,
stuff.
a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I agree. Memorable performances to be
Yes,
had in this episode.
absolutely.
Yeah,
And like I said, even the small stuff, all the characters in that storyline, even like I said, Steubing was really good in it for what it was. Like it was just really
well,
good. Like good job by Bernie Capel and Fred Grandy.
I agree.
Like really good.
Well, it's funny because that's the important stuff to me. We can hit on all these big. They take big swings. They paint with a wide brush. But I think it's important when we look at it, and this is kind of how we've approached it. It's those little things that you may not notice, and maybe we're just more in tune with it after watching so many episodes in a row. Those little things are so important in the course of like a 45-minute episode.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? It makes little continuity bits, these little tiny things that connect the two. It's just, it
Because
doesn't take a lot.
when they're not there, it's glaring.
It's just a free for all.
Yeah, and it's just like the littlest things make the biggest differences with this thing.
Completely.
Captain of the week.
That is a really tough question for Captain of the Week. I've sort of gone back and forth with this, and I'm gonna have to land on Weems,
Yeah.
just because of his overall performance. I tried not to give it to him,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of he
Yeah, I
just
mean,
knocked it out of the park.
ultimately, it's as good. It probably is as good a performance as we've seen since Bob Crane.
I
Um,
completely agree.
although I will say, in retrospect, I do think what Richard Mulligan did last week was really good too. But
I agree.
again,
He was
it's just
good.
these people where it's like these are enormous roles, and he's basically playing two
Yep,
roles there. I will give a lot of credit to everybody else in that thing, like we just said, Nancy Culp and
completely.
Pat Connors, wherever her name was, and like Evelyn. All of them were just really good in that spot. It was just a really, really, really good. Like
Strong
that's
story.
without thinking about it hard.
Hmm.
Like if you told me that was a top 10
I could see
segment,
that.
that
I could
makes
see
sense
that.
to me. That makes total sense to me.
I think it
Um,
was a 7 on the IMDb rating, if I'm not mistaken.
which is
'Cause I
pretty
knew
good if you
last
think
week was
about
6.3 or
well,
something.
and if you think about it really was a one shotter, right?
Mhm.
I mean that, also shout out to Isaac. Once again, they give him stuff to do. He does it great.
He's
The
great.
problem is they just don't give him enough to do in every episode.
Mm-mm. It's just not
Yeah.
it's not consistent.
But I would say right now, as we are 1/5 done of the season, I think he's kind of the runaway winner,
I do.
best crew member.
I would agree they're not handling the Julie character like they did last year. Like,
They're
it's
just
just
not
different.
doing much with her. And when
No.
they are, it's like, no, I will say, I did want to bring this up. So they use Julie as bait, and that's like
Mhm.
the second or third time they've done that. I think they are, take last week out of it. That was a whole nother thing.
Right.
But I think they are using the Julie is bad at flirting thing as kind of a joke, which I'm okay with.
Okay.
Remember, like in the when they got kidnapped
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
she tried to flirt. You know
Oh,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like
What
this is one
about
of those things where okay, she's bad at flirting, ha ha, as opposed to I'm a red hot American woman, So
Yeah.
so
Imagine she did that again in that first episode to John Aston.
like that's her own move. That's her only move.
Oh, like we've got our worst moment of season 2 in the first episode of season 2.
It's gonna be hard to beat red buttons, I think,
Yeah, I don't
for
know who's
that.
gonna.
I gotta think, but it's we're only 1/5 done, so who knows?
Who knows?
Walk the plank.
got to be just stupid because he just didn't do anything. Like he didn't give me anything this episode. There was no moving sticks. There was no walkie-talkie.
Oh, you didn't get any Captainly, so it's stupid.
Nothing. There was nothing captainly that he did. It's just terrible.
Who was the worst actor of the 3 musicians?
Oh, well, you know what? Let me think about that.
Whoever
Well,
you decide, that's
yeah,
who my worst of the week is, because it could be any of the 3.
Mike's
Although I
singing
think
is
Billy
pretty
Davis gets
bad.
away with it because of that "Calm Down Everybody"
Look,
line.
you've
So
had an emotional morning.
I really think the Mike and Ike thing was up and down. Todd Bridges
Yeah,
was really good. Isaac was really good.
sure.
Husband and wife sucked.
Yeah.
The Witness was boring as hell, which is always the crime that we talk about the most.
Well, she didn't have the chops to
Well,
carry like a
no,
two-person storyline. She's
they
terrible.
just needed something else in there,
Or somebody else.
anything. And to play Robert Reed is just kind of a dullard, which is what they were doing, but it was just like, yeah, that was. So I'm going to just say The Witness in general
They should
was not
they
good.
should
As
have
I
had.
as I wrote in a note early on, I said this storyline is deader than Tennille's brother.
Ooh,
So
nice. He's not a
that
loser.
junkie punk.
They should have had Florence Henderson as the Tennille role. That would have made it interesting. Just because
Yeah, I
different,
went.
different.
Yeah, I mean literally.
But she would have sang a
Bring
song, the whole
bring
thing.
bring Swit back.
Bring Swit back. Bring back Barbie Benton.
Are you surprised that Tennille didn't
Hmm.
sing? That would have been weird for her to sing in this episode. She was like, and this one goes out to my dead brother.
You see that crap happen all the time. Well, let me ask you this: does
You
she
can't
sing
have
in her
2
next
songs
appearance?
in one episode.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Does she sing in season 4 in her next appearance?
I mean, if it's instead of her acting like this,
Yeah, I
yes,
don't know
I'm
why
fine
else
with it.
they would have her on.
But this was the most. This felt the most gratuitous in terms of this is a person who can sing. We're gonna have them sing. Charo,
Right,
it made sense. Diane Carroll, it made sense. Even Florence Henderson, as dumb as it was, that was Christmas,
makes
so it
sense.
made sense.
But
But
yeah,
yeah,
I don't know.
this was good. But that said, we haven't had a lot of musical stuff yet. So
Charo, yeah, I mean, really.
I mean, this season, I'm saying that might have
Well,
been our
we've
first
had a little
one.
soft sax. I mean, I don't know if you
I
remember.
forgot Jim and Jimmy's gonna
You
be in
forgot
that
Jam and Jimmy
concert.
was
I forgot.
last time. Yeah.
Anyway, that's Totals and a
Anyway,
recap for this week.
let us talk. Let's check the old mailbag real quick. We have email, Mike.
What?
Our very first email. We received an email from Becca from Michigan. She says she enjoys our stubing takedowns and the fact that we call out a very permissible attitude towards adultery, especially for husbands, which is fun. Something we do talk about that, about the comeuppance. And
Yeah.
so also direct quote, thanks for all your work. If you keep on the current schedule, I should have almost 9 more years of listening fun. And that's
Wow.
why we do it. Yeah,
That's a long time. 9 years.
there we go.
That's
Wait a minute,
very
9
that's very
years? What is
nice.
she listening to? 10 minutes a day? Like, how does that
That's
how does
very
that
nice.
work?
That's very nice to actually get an email.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's 9 years of shows left. That's a
it's a
lot.
lot
So,
of wow. Doesn't seem daunting at all. I'm
nope,
like,
nope.
wait, how old
There's
am I? Oh,
hopefully
right.
hopefully not a lot more witness storylines. So,
Oh, no
but no,
more.
thank you for the email.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Thank
That's
you,
very nice.
Becca from Michigan.
Yes.
You can email us at loveboatproject@gmail.com. Check us out on Instagram. We've got reels going up weekly at Loveboat Project. You can join our Facebook group, the Loveboat Project, and then also you can watch our episodes on YouTube. Also, you can find us anywhere you get your audio podcasts: iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, all of them.
And talking about watching the show,
Mhm.
next week might be a good one because it's
Of
Halloween.
course it is. I
Spooky.
can't wait. I can't wait. I heard
You know how you know
rumors
it's
of a
Halloween?
mm,
Because Vincent Price is in it.
sign me up.
Oh, brother.
Can't
Oh,
wait.
brother. Cannot wait to see what nonsense occurs. I'm gonna dress up as a better storyline than The Witness. So
I too will dress up as a better storyline than the wit. I will be Suzanne.
oh,
Oh,
no.
worst Halloween
Tennille?
costume ever.
We should be the other 3 parts of Fifth Dimension and Captain Dragon.
All about that. I think I might be dressed as Captain Dragon right now, as a matter of fact. All right. Oh, anything to plug, sir?
Yeah, Absolutely Hammered. We talk about the Phillies who are still dominating the league. You can sign up for that on the Hitting Season Patreon.
Excellent. Well, until next time, thanks for joining, and we will talk to you again soon. Thank you.